We're live. It says it's live. Yeah, it's live. I see it on the channel. Now you've left me.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh.
Can you see me? Do we have it live?
Yeah, I'm watching it on my phone.
Oh, okay. So we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
So experimenting with some new technology here. So we're live. We're live on YouTube, and today what we're going to do is we're going to do just an assessment of the Lexington Stakes. We've done all the previews. Been great doing that, Emily. I mean, get to know these horses. It's kind of a great way to handicap the Derby. You won't have to do much work Derby time.
No, it's great. I mean, it's like people always ask, like, what do you do different for the Derby? And I'm like, nothing. Like, all my work it's done. We do it all year, and now it's just look at the data, look at the board, and make plays.
And look at the plot, because the thing is we're going to do a preview show, and but just realize the plot's going to change a lot. But like I said, the plot's a good predictor actually of the Derby, so we'll do a show on that. Preview. I guess maybe 2 or 3 weeks out. That'll be the way we'll do it. So look forward to that. And I know I've got some clients who actually have horses running the Derbies who are anxious to see the plots. Today we'll do the Lexington. That's the last prep, and then Emily's going to probably scoot, and I'm going to hang in here and do some of the early races at both Aqueduct, maybe Kingland. Have some fun. Testing out our YouTube live channel. All right, Emily. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch us over to this mode so I can look at the Kingland race. Could you see that, Emily?
Yeah. Is there an option that we can have our faces up there or no?
Yes, there is. I think there is. I don't know what it does to the. I'm going to take.
Ooh, there we go. That's fancy. Look at
that. Technology, man.
We were gone and now we're here. Okay, cool.
Okay, now let me just get over to this little. Okay, just bear with me because I'm learning something new today. We're in studio. So this is the plot. You see the plot, Emily? This is the Lexington. It looks like it's a red fit, okay? But I think we can glean some things out of it. Just curious what you think. The one thing I noticed right away is that, you got the contention is a flame. I'm a little bit unsure about that. The speed rating's real low at 0. So, that's kind of a contradiction a little bit, Not really. I mean, you could have contention, but I think if there's a horse that maybe can clear that early pressure, might put him at advantage. And when you look at the run, the RPM, the run styles, you see you have the 1 and the 2 pretty much alone. And the 1 is all the way down in quadrant 3. And I think and we'll get into his form, Emily. I think that's because he's coming out of a lot of 2-year-old races, right? So his form might be a little bit tainted by that. He hasn't really, I think he's run one race as a 3-year-old, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and I just want to add real quick on as far as the contention here and the lack of the running styles is sometimes when you have that lack of the EP or the E-type runners, there's the horses that just like are going to naturally just kind of be in that spot based on the way that they've run and their fraction. So yeah, it's a kind of a true red chaotic plot fit. And we saw last week, that race, that horse that I tweeted out, that 5-horse Venti Valentine over at Aqueduct, when horses are taken out of their run style, it can kind of create a little bit of chaos, even when it does look like an advantage. So I think going through this field form, obviously tactics, distance, all that's going to come into play.
Yeah. I just look at this race and I just, I think one horse kind of just initially kind of looking at the plot kind of leans itself to me is the number 2 in due time. I'm just thinking if that horse possibly can clear a square in quadrant 1 there, with that inside post, it all depends what the 1 does. But I think he can either probably stalk the 1 if the 1 goes, or he can go right for the lead. I think he might have an advantage, but let's get into the form and then we can kind of decide on those things. But typically Kingland, when you start let's look at the quad percentage here for a second. What the quad percentage, people are new to optics, what this does, it takes a look at the track profile, like what squares or favored in what quadrants and circles and so forth, and compares those kind of win percentage against the rest of the horses in the race. So you see the 2 and the 9 sit pretty good because they both have. I think those are the favorites, the morning line first and second choices. So, but they look like they have an advantage from a plot perspective. All right, versus the track profile. Let's go in. Let's dive in. Let's start with the number 1, Emily, Midnight Chrome. Interesting horse. He comes out of that Runson, which I guess it's a key race now.
Yeah,
probably the best key race. So you have 2 probably the biggest Derby contenders coming out of that race in Mo Donegal and Zandon. He was in that race and ran 3rd and showed grit to hold 3rd, I thought, when I was watching the race. That was only his 2nd dirt race, so it was an improve. They put him back into turf, and you see we got another improve there because he was against the flow in the optional claiming race. So is there some upside? What do you think about this horse?
I mean, there would have to be upside in order for him to win because he is on the slower side. I mean, hasn't really improved off those 2-year-old forms, but to what you were saying, maybe just hasn't had the right opportunity or space in order to do so. And in terms of the plot, I mean, it's a horse that's a long shot in a race that there's, that especially the surface and distance, you look at the first call, he's out in front.
Right.
You are projecting improvement. There is a lower speed rate. There could be a scenario, if you're getting creative for a horse at a price, it's definitely one in a race that maybe you want to spread past the horses the one horse that you like, would be one I would want to use just kind of on those factors, key race, pace, and projecting upside.
Interesting to see Jose Ortiz take the mount, right? So maybe the intent is to go to lead. It's going to be interesting because the number 2 horse, the one I was talking about, is In Due Time, and Paco Lopez, I think, is still going to be intent on getting to the lead, or at least getting clear, because in the Fountain of Youth, this horse was buried in heavy traffic and caused some problems. I don't know how he didn't get disqualified coming off the turn there. But this horse, I liked him going into that race. I thought he showed some potential. I thought looked like he was going to get to trip in there, but he just got buried in traffic. And you can see he's run fast enough in the past. I liked his allowance race, which was kind of a key race, 2 back, nothing but green and black. So this horse is a major contender for me. And I think if he can get, forwardly placed, which I tend he will, he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I like this horse as an individual. I think we both liked him in the Fountain of Youth off that allowance where he was actually buried in traffic that day. And we liked him getting that extra ground because we saw it when he was inside and he was behind horses. He just couldn't extend. And he looks like a horse that wants to go 2 turns. So I think tactically, get this horse outside or get him into the clear, let him run, let him stretch his legs, and run his race. I definitely figure him as a contender in this spot.
Yeah. He's my main contender. I think he's the legitimate. I think he may go second choice, but I think he's a legitimate. Could be the favorite. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. The number 3, We All See It. How do you see it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know Keneally's horses have been kind of firing as of late, so maybe that could be a positive sign. This is a step up in class. He is coming off a new top back in 28 days. I think, while things are going good, they're going to take a shot, but there are just kind of some class factors. And on the plot, I mean, there's really no pace advantage. So I'm a little questionable that he runs back to that 93 last out, and maybe this is a spot where he would need to run back to that effort in order to win.
At least, I'm negative on him. The 4, this is a horse that's coming right back off the Bluegrass race, 7 days. This is Wayne Lucas, right? I didn't like his race. I just thought the races in Arkansas were just subpar. I think that kind of got proved out a little bit in the Kingland race. But what do you think? I mean, he looks kind of a plotter. It looks like it's not kind of a track I would want to play him on, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that was actually our concern with him in the Bluegrass was just the fact that he hasn't improved in terms of speed figures and just as far as those races being strong, and he just hasn't quite stepped forward on the speed figure department. kind of flattening out in those high 80s. So, you know, an underneath share. I think they were probably expecting him to run a little bit better in the bluegrass. I made the point that I think he does improve a second off. I kind of like that. You know, that was the pattern when he finished second. In whatever stakes race that was. It's hard for me to see. In the Rebel, that was kind of a second off pattern off a similar like 40+ day layoff. So again, yeah, I just think they were expecting a little bit more from him, looking to pick up some points. Didn't happen. So Hail Mary today, trying to get some points.
Yeah, the 5. You know, this horse was bet a little bit in the Fountain of Youth. Howling Time for Dale Romans. Talamo's on this horse. You know, this horse showed some potential early on. I think this horse is going to improve. It's just going to be how much can this horse improve? You know, can he get a piece or whatever? But I expect improvement off the Fountain of Youth race. I just think that this horse is capable of more, but don't know how much more. Don't know if it's good enough to win. I don't think it's good enough to win, but I think he'll improve.
Yeah, I mean, he actually has the numbers. I mean, he's got a 92 optics figure in his debut race. And then I made the case going back on some of the other videos, how he kind of regressed off that despite getting the win in that second start, needing to regroup. I thought that the Fountain of Youth was actually kind of a good spot for him as far as, you know, getting the timing, scratching out of the Sam F. Davis, looking at some of his works, looking like a horse that was on the improve and just didn't show any run. Maybe had a little bit of a trip inside, but nothing that could be overly excuse worthy. I mean, if anything, there's an excuse. It's Dale Romans, just because nothing from his barn was running in Florida.
Right.
Maybe the change of scenery and the timing kind of wakes this horse up, but you can certainly make a case off those first 2 starts with some class and speed figures that fit. Getting back to those efforts, he could compete.
Yeah, I think he's got an underneath chance. That's for sure. I really do. Just because he's good enough. Skate to Heaven just broke his maiden with a perfect trip, ran a big figure, big improvement, big jump up. I don't know. The fact that he only won that race by a nose too after a perfect trip, I'm probably gonna pass.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
The 7 horse, I thought this horse had a little bit of a look too. He kind of reminded me of the 5 a little bit in terms of, you know, laying an egg in the target race. This was a race off a 175-day layoff though. And the thing with this horse, at least it didn't look like he was handling the track. No push late. This is another horse with upside, you know, ran really well in the first 2 starts. So this is another horse probably is going to improve and may have a chance underneath for me.
Yeah, I can definitely make a case there. Lightly raced type. They're running in this spot. You know, maybe a little bit of a rush as far as going into the Derby, but I think this is probably a good race and they can assess, you know, running on Derby Day or in New York or wherever they want to go from there. But yeah, I give them a look in here for sure.
Yeah. Let's go to the number 8, Strava. Yeah, you know, this horse, I thought that was a pretty good race. I guess that's kind of a live race, right? Because that race in Fairgrounds is where the Louisiana Derby winner came out of, if I remember correct, Emily. So, you know, I guess that race had a little bit of a live look. I agreed with your comment about no finish. He kind of flattened out, but I was just wondering if it was he needed the race because that was a very fast race for the level. And obviously it came back strong, you know, with the Louisiana Derby winner. So I give him a little bit of a look just based on that. Maybe if he can, like, you know, if he gets the race, he's got the race under him. He can maybe make another move forward that would make him contend with, you know, with the 91 plus whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna knock, you know, projecting some of them move forward at 20-1. I think it just with a lot of these horses where you're gonna have to make the projection, it's gonna come down to price. I mean, you know, even if you look at the 7, who's actually kind of a stablemate because they're both WinStar horses, you know, that's not really a horse I'm interested in playing at 4-1, though I think he probably has a better chance than the 8. But the 8, yes, you could mess around with a little bit more at 20-1 than you are with the, you know, 7 at 4-1, right? Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, absolute sense. Yeah. So it's a horse you could kind of look at. The 9 is the morning line favorite, 20 Port, and this is it kind of looks like a grass horse to me. I mean, or at least a synthetic horse. You know, even like I guess it was his 2 races back, you know, you did a note on this. You kind of projected turf and maybe even a drop off of the Risen Star race. He had a little trouble at the start. He got a big grade, I think, in that Turfway Park, you know, the Jeff Ruby, because I think the race came back so fast for us. I don't know what you think about this horse, but he's coming back really quick off that big number. You know, he's okay. I just don't want to take him up as the favorite or 5-2 or 3-1 or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a soft favorite. And again, it kind of just goes back to that fairgrounds race. I mean, a C+ isn't going to do it on the main track at kind of a similar distance. And a part of the note and the projection with the surface switch has to do with mechanics, the way that horse travels, the way he kind of moves his legs and things like that. That's not necessarily a positive on the dirt. And at the least, you know, in a race that does, as we're kind of going through it, seems a little bit more wide open, wouldn't want to be taking a short price on a horse like this.
Yeah, and I could see him getting caught wide, and that's just terrible. I mean, you know, a Kingland, I could see him getting caught wide in that first turn. And then the other thing is the cut back in distance. You know, I don't know if that helps or hurts, but I just don't know. I don't want to take a short price on that horse. Dash Attack, really good kind of his first 2 races, and then he's kind of hasn't progressed since. Plots pretty well, you know, in that quadrant 2, I think, square. But I don't know. I guess he had traffic, but I mean, who's to say he's not going to get into traffic again? You know, slow horses tend to get into traffic. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, those first 2 races, yeah, they were good speed figures. I think Oakland Park can sometimes create those kind of speed figures, just, you know, watching horses and where they travel inside and outside of there. And they were beneficial trips, you know, the tactics plus the red keywords, and then just kind of getting the class test and not being able to step up. That's the big concern here. And I think, you know, it's kind of almost the same thing. Why not take a shot here? And, you know, at this point, you know, probably not going into the Derby, but at least gives you some idea of where this horse is going forward.
Yeah. And then to round it out, the number 11, Call Me Midnight, is a horse we kind of liked, you know, going into the Lecomte, which he won at a big price. And then Louisiana Derby, we thought he might, you know, regress a little bit, you know, thought it was a different pace dynamic, right, in that race. But he still ran a good race. You got a better than looked effort there, Emily. Let me just pull up the extended comment. These extended comments are like a little blue circle, so I click that. Slight hop at the start, and then we'll change in the running order. Yeah, and this one was the only one to really make up ground. So he was running on at the end, despite the race kind of really favoring the front runners.
Yeah, I thought he ran the second best race in there, because he didn't have that. He wasn't forwardly placed. He had to come from off the pace. He had the challenge of a 2-month break. There was just so much against him, and just the fact that he was the only horse that was making up ground in that race and kind of just on the card. So I thought that was a really sneaky good effort, and it doesn't look like much on paper. And looking at the plot, we kind of know of him as being a deep closer, and he is down in quadrant 4 today, but almost kind of splitting in quadrant 2, right?
Yeah.
Surface distance. That's not a bad trip especially when you consider there's that congestion of horses that aren't necessarily EP types. If they bunch up, he's like kind of sitting not too far off of them, has that kick. We know he can close into a slow pace. He's another horse I would be using here as an A. Yeah.
So I think in summary, I think the 2 and the 11 are kind of our A's. The 2, if he can kind of separate early and then the 11 comes running late, I think that's kind of the look. And I think we talked about like 5, 7, and 8 looking at as horses that maybe
and the 1.
And the 1, 5, 7, and 8, if you can look at horses maybe underneath that could spruce it up. And I guess we're against the 9 in this race. So that's kind of our assessment of the Lexington. And by the way, what I'm going to do is I'll have a Optics focus report on this race. It'll be free. It'll be up on our website. You go to just go to OptixEQ.com, and then you go to Race of the Day, and it'll be under Optics Focus Race of the Day, and I'll have kind of the write-up where we give our fair odds assessment and all the rest, all that good stuff. So check that out. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. So Emily, getting ready for the Derby. This is it. This is the last one. And then, like I said, people who joined us late, we're going to be doing a preview show probably 2 or 3 weeks out where we look at the plot and talk about the contenders. So, join us for that. We'll do that probably live or on tape. We'll see. So anything else in terms of the Derby?
Not right now. I mean, going next week, we'll kind of probably get a better idea of who's in this field and decision. So yeah, we'll wait until that.
Cool. All right. So Emily, thanks for joining us. I'm gonna hang on for a little bit. So I'm gonna move Emily from here. So I'm gonna do take a look at some of the early races from Kingland maybe, and even Aqueduct. So I'm gonna start with let's look at the first race at Kingland. I'm gonna go there. So this was kind of, let me get, all right. So this is the first race at Kingland. It's a low-level claiming race, sprint and dirt. I'm looking at the plot right now. And, looks like when you look at the horses that might have an early advantage, it would be the 2, 5, and 8, 3 are the kind of the early runners in this race. But again, it's another red plot. The 2 here, if you can look at the tables coming off a long layoff, so he's a little bit suspect in what we're going to expect coming back. So that kind of leaves us with a 5 and 8. It probably is the best of the early pace types. I'll get into the form here a little bit. And then I think from off the pace type, it looks like the 1 is dominant. You see that big square. In fact, he's better on standard. He's closer to this was Emily was talking about, he's kind of closer to that quadrant 2. So maybe he's not that far off, but it looks like a horse that can close. Probably can close into either a slower pace or early pace. And expecting, with the speed rating in this race not to be that quick. So maybe he'll be a little bit closer. And maybe that plot you're seeing in standard would be what we're going to anticipate. So for me, just plot-wise, looking at this, with the 2 coming off the layoff and being a little suspect, and the 3 plotting the way he does, I think the 5 and 8 look a little bit interesting. So let's go into the form here. We'll look at the 5. I'll get back to the 1 here in a second. Let me clear the filters. Oops. Okay. Let's look at the 5. Probable story. 3rd off a layoff. You can see he had the 99-day layoff. He's been running at, I guess, Mahoning, I guess that is. So, it's kind of that's below this level. But, you see this horse's run speed figures in the 70s, which I think is going to be a little bit low here. So, he might be a little bit suspect coming out of those races at lower level tracks. So that's one thing. The 8, Air War, again, coming out of those lower level tracks. We'll see the board. When the board comes up here at Kingland in the first race, we'll take a look at it. But I thought the 1, again, a little bit interesting. Stay Home. 3rd off a layoff, getting a little bit cut back in distance to the sprint. Let's see how this works. I'm going to just take a look at the 6 furlongs here. Yeah, I mean, this horse, this is kind of what he wants to do. I think he's going to be better off going 6 furlongs. He's cutting back in distance. He doesn't face much. When we get to the board, but I think an early assessment is the 5 and 8 look best early. The 1 looks best late. The 1 looks like the best horse in the race. He's 7-2 in the morning line. So I think, let's look at the board and see if that's playable. Let's go to Aqueduct race 1. This race, when you look at it, you got a lot of horses that don't plot on surface and distance. That means they probably are trying the distance for the first time. So you got a bunch of sprinters coming out. Just from a plot perspective, it looks like the 5 and the 2 are kind of alone in that quadrant 1. So in the standard, so we're gonna have to see. They're all lightly raced in this race. The 3 plots, pretty well. He's probably one of the best plots on surface and distance. Again, you got to be careful with these kinds of plots because they just don't have a lot of information yet. These horses are on 1 or 2 races. Let's wait for the board at Aqueduct before we do that. In fact, I'm going to get myself ready here. Get my information up here, my race streams up on my TV. Let's go to race 2 though at Aqueduct. If you're playing the early pick 5, I thought this was a little bit interesting because it's like a kind of a crummy race, and you got to be a little bit creative. Let me just check the conditions too, where we are. Okay, so this is and it's still a turf race. That's good. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to filter on surface. I'm just going to put T here. I mean, you can actually use some of the filters that we have here. Today's surface, today's track, and all the rest. But I'm just going to put a T here. So I just want to look at the turf races. Okay, so I'm filtering on turf races. And you can see not a lot of turf experience with the exception of the 4. Okay, and I guess the 4 is going to be our favorite in this race. So anyway, it looks like this horse has had a lot of chances. And it's coming off a big layoff here. So, you know, we'll see. But it might be a horse we want to take a chance against. Let's look at the yeah, he kind of plots the best. He's the early morning line favorite in the race. Maybe it's a horse we can take a chance again. He's had a lot of chances. He's kind of proven that he doesn't like to win. But you know, let's look at some of the others. And the other thing, he is coming off a 187-day layoff. So first thing I want to do is let's look at this horse's last races off big layoffs. 81, 82. So I mean 81. So it looks like 80 is what he typically runs off a layoff from an OptixEQ perspective. So if we can get a horse that could run, you know, if we can project the horse that could run in that 80, that low 80 range, you know, maybe we have something here, right? Not much on the 1 and 2 because they have never run on the turf. That goes for the 5. The 6 horse has run on turf, run against less, lost against less. I never liked that. So he's at the Fairgrounds, which is a lower tier than Aqueduct in New York. And he couldn't get it done there, around 78. But the horse I thought was a little bit interesting was the 9 American Day. He's coming off a layoff too, but this is a horse that ran at Belmont, ran at 70 as a 2-year-old. And if you just do like the kind of the projection stuff, you know, it's like 6 months now. You figure 5 or 6 months, I guess it is. You want to do a 1.5 points per month. You know, this horse could be, you know, like the low 80s, which we think could win this race. And he's a big price. So you're looking at a race where you have not much, you know, turf experience. The horse that's going to be the big favorite and has the best turf experience hasn't won after many, many, many tries. So this is a race you might want to be able to take a shot and look at the number 9 American Day, just on that fact alone, right? So you don't have to do a ton of handicapping. He plots as a square on surface and distance. That's a good thing. And best, he's 15-1. That's the best thing about this horse. Okay, so it'll be interesting when the board comes up. But he's a horse you might want to just take a chance against. You know, it's early in the day, so it's you got to watch how this turf course is playing. The turf course so far has been playing a little bit to inside horses and to horses forwardly placed, so that might be to his detriment. But you got a lot of horses that are trying things for the first time, so it'll be interesting. The other one, I guess, you know, in a race like this, when you got such poor kind of form, is to look at a first-time starter. And you got the George Weaver horse, Strike Price. I mean, you know, forget about pedigree, forget about all that stuff for now. I mean, in a race like this, all I'm looking for is the horse hasn't piled up a bunch of losses like the other horses. So he's one to kind of take a look at. The 3 is kind of making his second start. Maybe there's room for improve on the turf, but I didn't see anything that would say he's a turfy, and he's moving up. He's lost below the level, so he's kind of a toss for me. And so for me, you know, I'd be looking at the 1 and 9 in picks or in doubles or whatever going forward if you're playing multi-race bets. I thought the 1 and the 5 and 1 and 9 looked like a chance to maybe upset the 4 in this race. I mean, just simple handicapping, not trying to get crazy with all the different things here. So that's race 2. I thought that was kind of an interesting race at Aqueduct. We'll just go on to, let's look at race 3. Okay. This field got shorter. I guess the 4 got knocked out. The 3, this is a very light contention. Speed rating is very low. So 3 might have an advantage here. Look at this surface distance plot. He's going to be forward. Maybe he can back this field up and just kind of do the old re-break at top of the stretch. But he run the 1 race. It was at Tampa, but it looked like a pretty good race. Let me just go to the form here. He's trying the allowance company for the first time, but I don't know. This race looks kind of soft. If you look at some of the horses coming out of these races, I mean, you got a declining. Look at the figures are declining on the 1. Wow. No real excuses in any of these races. It's cutting back from the 2 turns at 7.5 at Gulfstream. The 2, this horse is 3rd off a layoff. This is kind of an improving horse, but no turf. And there's nothing in his form that suggests turf. We have this projection keyword called turf. We thought this horse looked turfy, then we'd be on him. But he doesn't. The 3 we talked about probably being the horse to beat. This is a South American. Well, I guess this horse actually. No, I'm sorry. This is a European. So this horse is going to take some action. Obviously, it's probably Pletcher. Okay, this is a Pletcher horse. So they shipped this horse in from France. So you get they're just typically horses in Europe, especially turfing, are strong. He won, but notice he broke his maiden there or whatever, his first win on dirt. So now they're back on turf. Okay, the horse obviously has got a chance. And then the 6 is kind of an interesting horse because I assume this horse. Let me just go to the morning line. Yeah, it's probably going to be a strong favorite, but I don't know. I mean, why this spot? First 2 races out of the gate. So the horse wins his maiden race, then he's laid off for 247 days. Okay, and he wins with a B+. Then he's laid off another 308 days at Gulfstream and doesn't run a good race in his stakes race, going 5 furlongs. And now it's back here after another 62 days. I don't know. It just looks a little maybe ouchy, this horse, to me. So don't want part of him. I'm thinking the 3 might be my single in this race. Just if he can control the pace and then kick on. I talked about like that inside and maybe being forwardly placed being a good thing. I think that might be a possibility. Let's look at the board when all's said and done. But I just think of race 3. That's a possibility. So I know I'm flipping around here, but let's. So I think what we talked about is maybe the 3 is a single. Looking at some long shots, the 1 and 9, race 2. Race 1, we talked a little bit about maybe the 5 having some upside, but we said we're going to wait for the board on that one. Let's see if there's anything more interesting. At Kingland, we talked about race 1 already. Let's go to race 2. I think we're still a ways out. I probably missed or started a little too early on this, but hopefully we'll hang in there for a race or 2. Going to go to race 2 at Kingland. A little messy. This is a race that is running for the first time, and first time surface and being able to plot. So not much to go on here. Just visually you can see the 11's got a big square, and also maybe this horse is relative to the horses that runs got probably the best late finish. The other thing just to note is that, I look at the table here and look at some of the key words. It looks like the 3 personal best had major trouble in his first race and galloped out strong. So, if you look at the extended comment, decided to draw a line through this one, nothing went right, galloped out in front as Jose encouraged. Just wanted to keep an eye on. So this 3 obviously took our guy at Gulfstream, Donald Harris, took him by, he's kind of encouraged by this horse's last race, which is good for me. So 3 is an obvious contender here. You can see he gets the green EX. EX is an excuse. And why it's green too is like, well, we find that these horses really improve next out. And actually, if you just looked at every EX the next time out, it's basically a flat, and we've been doing this for like 6 years, is a flat ROI, which is incredible, right? So it beats the takeout a lot. So this is a horse at 8-1. I don't know if you can get 8-1, but that's a horse to consider. Just that note alone. The note on the 7 looks like this horse may be more one turn. That's not what he's going to get today. And then the 11, slow out of the gate last time, but in his debut, he had gait issues too. So that's the only concern about that horse. He had gait issues, was against the bias. We projected him to improve, and he did, but he's slow out of the gate again. So, I'm always leery, especially taking too short of a price on horses that have issues with the gate. So he's been off 132 days. Maybe they kind of resolve that issue. Don't know. Graham Motion, definitely a capable guy. So, and then the 13 coming off a 222-day layoff. So this horse is, run fast enough, I guess. Plots really well, but stretching out for the first time. So that's another horse to look at. 13 with Vicky Oliver and Bejarano. So 13 looks like, and again, we'll watch for the board. Looks like a viable contender. But the 3 was an interesting horse to me, just based on our extended comments from our notes taker in Florida. Okay, so let's go to race 3. And this race looks a little bit more, when you initially look at the early plots, a yellow, the contention is kind of, I would say, average, and speed ratings, I would say, below average. So it looks like a race where you could probably get horse from anywhere, but the 6 plots strongly as a presser, so he looks like the 7 might be the early pace type. 3 also looks like he plots forward, even though he's kind of more of a presser closer. You can see that his run style is that. We talked about a little bit that with this Emily, like horses matching their run style to the way they want to run versus how the race plots. But the 6 looks like a really strong plot in this case. Let's go to I'm going to go to the grid on this race, and let's see if we can glean some more information from the form. Again, this is what we're trying to do here is 2 things with optics, obviously. One is pace, which is a difficult and complex situation, because there's lots of horses, lots of things, dynamics, there's intention by trainers and jockeys. But what we try to do is try to take at least the grunge out of the initial work to try to assess the pace. And then the other big thing is this, what we're looking at now, the grid, and try to get into the notes and understand the form cycle of a horse. We're just not looking at numbers and trying to look at how they actually visually ran and our assessment of how they ran and what we project to be going forward. So let's take a look at this field a little bit. I was interested in the 6 because I thought he plots strongly. This is a horse that's last race it was on synthetic, didn't keep up, but that was against a better bunch class-wise. 2 back, it was awful layoff. He ran a pretty good race. And you can see this horse has got some strong back numbers in here, right? So, I'm thinking maybe 3rd off a layoff, plots well, maybe ready for, a big race. I just want to look at, gets back to Gafflin, which I think is positive. Well, he was kind of in turf way. So, I think this horse plots strongly, could be close. And he's got those back numbers really that could dominate this race, early in his 3-year-old season. I'm hoping he gets back to those races that he had at Churchill because they are really strong enough to win this race. I think he's 7-2 if he can get anywhere near that. But again, let the board dictate how we want to kind of play that race. The 4 and the 5, they kind of look like horses that are squares. They're going to be kind of coming off the pace. Let's look a little bit at those, just because they are squares. Dreaming of Jerry. This horse has kind of been on the turf, so I don't know if that's what this horse wants, because he just doesn't seem to run well. So I think on the turf. So I think this is a horse that should improve with the switch back to the dirt. And the best race this horse ever ran was going, 1 turn, 8 furlongs on the dirt against lesser though. So he looks a little class challenged, but it's a horse that you might want to consider, just that the fact that you might see some improve with the switch back to the preferred distance. And then the other one was the 5 that we looked at. Again, there's another horse that's tried to turf last time, scratched out last 2 races. So we got a layoff here to consider. 2 dull races. Even the race before was kind of dull. It was in the slop. This horse, if you look at his fast races, and if you look at his race at Kingland, he ran a good race despite having all that trouble. So another interesting horse in this race that, if he can get back to some of that form, and you can make some excuses, the fact that he was on the wrong surface, he was slow out of the gate, he had trouble to start. That's the other thing with this horse. It seems he has trouble in the start of a lot of his races. But he's good enough to win this race on his best day, and he's got some back form and back class. Don't know. It's all going to be about the price. But I thought in this race, those 2 looked interesting. If you're going to kind of maybe go 2 or 3 deep, if you're playing the early pick 5 or something, there might be some horses you might want to include on your backups. So 4, 5, and 6 look interesting in here. Let's look at the 3, just because he looks like a presser closer that has a pace advantage. It's weird. I guess he just broke his maiden on synthetic, and now he's got a layoff after that. And his races before that were slow. I'm against that horse. So let's look at. Might as well start and look at the rest of them. The 1, another maiden claimer, ran a big races. Probably is going to back up. Especially I don't like these races where the race was off the turf too. So the race was intended for the turf. So you really scratch into horses that are probably slow on dirt for the most part. And you can see the Optics fig range. That's what we take into consideration what we think is going to win the race. That was real low. Yeah, he ran well, but against that guy too. So we went to 3. We looked at the 4, 5, 6. Let's look at the 7. Burn and Ash. Another synthetic horse. Poor race and then a layoff and then a drop. Nah, passing. 8. The Peninsula. Just in form that don't look fast enough to win this race. Gets class relief, comes back in 6 days, but I'm not buying it. So for me, the 4, 5, 6. Let's look at the board when that comes out. Let me make a note of that. Race 3. Okay. I'm going to keep this open. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, but let's wait till some of the racing comes back. So I'll leave this open, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay. All right. Let me just make it. Okay, I'm back. Got a coffee here, so I'm ready to rock and roll. Next thing I want to do is, people kind of do the optics. Let me go to here. I'm going to show you, a couple of things. So first of all, this is our website. When you go to our website, if you want race of the day information, you go here. And what we have is the video. I do a video now and then. I'm actually doing a live video. But if you want to go to our channel, that's, and see what we have new in terms of video race of the days. I put a lot of stuff out there. So you can go and take a look at, how I actually apply this stuff. And then we have kind of the focus race of the day from Santa Anita. And then I'll have the Lexington up later today. So you can go and look at that. And what the focus report does, it just essentially gives you like the last 3 run lines, the notes, then our fair odds assessment of the race in blue here. And then kind of a wagering strategy, confidence in our ability to handicap the race. So this race doesn't look like it offers much. We got to pass, but that's the way it goes. Some races are good, some races are bad. The other thing is if you want more information on anything, you go to our info and let's say the focus, and you want to look at the quick reference, and then just click there. And then what you do is you get all the fields described to you, so you understand, basically. What they mean, right? So I think that's pretty good. And then there's some hot key links to describe other things, So good information. And like I said, all our information is up there in the info. It's kind of nice. It's the way it's laid out. It's pretty nice. So something to kind of take a look at. The other thing is media. We're kind of all over the place. So you're on YouTube Live today. If you want to know who our analysts are, who does the work here for Focus, there they are. And then the other thing is if you want to buy our stuff. So there you go. The other thing is we'll be doing a report for the Kentucky Derby, a special where it'll be Focus and some, wagering guides and stuff like that. So take a look at that, as it comes down, as it comes available. So, that's just the website. I'm going to go back out here. The other thing I want to kind of look at is we talked about notes, and I think what are really good features, and a lot of people that know about our stuff know that this exists. We have a utility called a Rod. So I'm going to look at Rod. And what Rod does, it just takes every horse basically that has a plot or has plot running today, and it pulls it into the database. It takes a little bit to download, especially on a slow machine like I'm on. And then once it's done, you can filter and search for certain things. You can look for certain keywords. And what we've done is we've created a bunch of what we call easy filters to make this a little bit more easier to navigate. Okay, so you see these circle things up here, and what they have under them are sub menus. So you can look at, if I want to look at horses just in quadrant 1 on standard, quadrant 1 on surface distance, you can create filters based on all this. So you got where the horse is located in the plot. You have notes, which is great. If you want to look at horses that had a green keyword in his last race, you want to look at races made with the plot fit. This is really good tool. Form cycle, you may want to look at for things like third off a layoff or something like that. So great tool if you're handicapping the races and you want to really mine the data in Optix's databases. This is a great way to do it. One of the things that I know I like to do, and I know people do, is kind of look at the green keyword in the last race. You just don't want to miss those horses that might have had a race that could be overlooked. This is one I always kind of look at. So what are green keywords are essentially our best kind of way to assess kind of a horse moving forward. Now, the other thing you have to always know is the horse could move forward, but he's got to be in the right spot too. So, just because he has a green keyword doesn't mean he's going to win or run well. He's got to be in the right spot. He's got to be suited to the distance and surface, but at least it's a great start to say, especially for me, I cover New York mostly. And if something or one of my horses ships out somewhere else to Kingland or something, or to Florida, I want to be on that. I don't want to make sure that I don't miss that. And so this is a great tool for that. So we can look at today, we have a bunch of horses that have green keywords. There's 2 in New York, right? So let's look at Color Me. They're both good prices, 6 and 10 to 1. So let me look at, and the way you can drill down, okay, once you know that there's a horse that you might want to look at, you hit OP, and what that's going to bring up is Optix plot. So I'm going to bring up the Optix plot for the race that horse is in at Aqueduct, and he's the number 1 here, okay? And then what I can do is I can drill down into that race a little bit more and try to figure out if this horse is a play or not. So I'm here. Let's take a look at the grid. Just go back to the plot. This looks like to me, like this 2 has a pretty sizable edge and early pace in this race. It's going to be the favorite. But let's look at the 1. Let's see what I mean, the 1 plots with everybody else. It's kind of an odd plot. But let's take a look at the 1. So this is a horse that his last race. Let's look at the extended column. Why was it better than looked after? Hopped at the start, spotted the field 3 or 4 lengths. Okay, this horse had trouble to start, and here's the problem I have with the horse right now is that he had trouble to start. And he had gait issues the last time, so and hard lead. So it looked like he was probably pushed after probably. Let's see what the extended comes. It's a very strong rail bias. Okay, he was on the rail, pushed hard for the lead. He's drawing the rail again here. No, he had trouble to start and gait. So is this a horse that, potentially can vie for the early lead with a clean start? I don't know. He kind of looks like, there's definitely improvement. He could run back to that 88. He did have the advantage of the rail bias that day. But it looks like this is a horse that could run in mid-80s. It's kind of a little bit on the low end of that Optix fig range. But let's look at the favorite here. I think it was the 2, the horse that I talked about, looking at the pace advantage. He's coming off a little bit of layoff. And his recent races at this level weren't that great, 80, 85, 83. I guess the maiden breaker, he's capable of running faster. I don't know if the layoff and the way his form is he going to run faster? But there's a possibility, and he's running the low 90s. So maybe the 1's not too far off. Look, I would dig a little bit more in this race, but I just want to show you how you go from trying to find something a little bit out of the ordinary, an edge, and then see what you can do with it and how to actually evolve to it. So let's look at that. I think it was the rod was like the 7th race. Let's see. That's the number 4. I'm going to go to race 7. Race 7 here. So this was the 2nd horse at Aqueduct that had a positive green keyword in his last race. The number 4 other case, boys, 10 to 1. This kickback is kind of interesting, right? Because you don't see it anywhere else. This is what we found, especially the way we look at it. There's different types of kickback. I mean, horses get it all different ways, but the way we're looking at it is the way that when this horse gets it into their nostrils and their face, they really react a certain way negatively, and really completely degrades their performance. And we've seen horses improve dramatically, the next time out. So let me just take a look at the number 4's form. This horse looks kind of slow, his early race. But when you first look at it, you say, well, this horse looks kind of slow. He's kind of 70s kind of horse. But he ran 75, 71 as a 2-year-old, pretty early in the season. If you just kind of do the projection on something like that, forward what a horse should improve from ages 2 to 3. This horse probably could run in the 80s, high 80s, like mid to high 80s, just because you got, let's see, that's August. So you got September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 8 months, that's 8 times 1.5 is what? 12 points. So, I mean, this horse could run, project to run in like the mid to high 80s. So that's the capability of this horse. He came back in a good race. He ran a 79, not a bad race, a good race to move forward. It was off 162 later. He did move forward, but maybe there's another move in him, and he got the kickback. And he still ran a 76. I've seen horses improve 10, 15, 20 points off kickback races. Third off a layoff. This horse is intriguing, especially at the price. Let me I'm going to do something here because I just want to see. I'm going to look at the rest of the field. I want to look at in the last 45 days. I want to have a filter here. Last 45 days, I want to look at where these horses are at. And you can see the speed figures in the last 45 days aren't that great. You have the horse that the number 2, who's won 2 races, at 83 is the top number. So, maybe some of these other horses can project improvement, but this horse is right in the mix. The 83 that the horse earned was at Parks at a much lower level. So this Ava's K's boy, to me, looks like a viable contender. Is going to be a big price. Is a horse you want to kind of think about and use. I'm gonna keep a note on that horse. Race 7. So you can see how I kind of evolved to this to this point. It's a little bit different kind of handicapping process. But I mean, it's just, again, when you're kind of looking at races and look at a lot of races and look at the whole simulcast wagering thing, you don't want to miss horses that you've done the work on. Some people might keep a stable thing. To me, this is a lot easier to get to this and to manage it. And like I said, all the notes are in there for you already because of what we do. So I think it's a valuable product. And again, it's just another way to use Optics Rod, we call it. I think we initially started that as was going to be Optics Race of the Day, and that's how we kind of evolved to it. What have you? All right. So what else do we have for you? Let me just take a look at what's going on in the world. We're still ways away from post time, the different tracks. Let me see where we're at Kingland. Post times not even up. They're singing the national anthem. Okay. Let's just peruse. Maybe people are playing Kingland. Let's take a look at. I'm gonna filter here on Kingland so I can look at Kingland. And what I'm gonna do too is I'm just gonna pull up other tracks just to see if there's anything else going on that we can take a look at. Bring up. Look at, so we got, I guess the early tracks are Gulfstream, Laurel, Kingland, and New York, Aqueduct. The closest is 38 minutes, and that's Laurel. We'll get back there. Let's go to Kingland. Kingland, we have green keywords in the last race. We have several horses here. Looks like the 7th race has a bunch of them. So that's an interesting race. So maybe we want to look at race 7, but let me just see. We have against the bias. The other thing you want to look at is, another thing great to have this information. You want to look at the odds. So you see, wow, this horse is 8-1, and he had troubles last race. That was the horse that we talked about before earlier. So we would have missed him. So that's one we like. Then you kind of look at this one's 3-1. So hey, maybe I'll come back to that one. Horses like this rate, the 20-1 here. On this horse. This horse is kind of interesting, right? I mean, so I think we're going to go look at this horse because when you look at this, a mischief afoot, this horse got kicked back. We talked about kickback, and this horse ran a 90 Optics Fig. That's kind of already in the range, with the improvement. 20-1, because I think they really, especially these Tampa horses are usually downgraded. So let's look at that one. So I'm going to click this and bring up the Optics plot for Kingland race 6 today. Yeah, and do you have any comments or things you want covered? Send us. You just got to go to a contact form on our website. Let me show you how to do that. Go to the homepage and contact. And if you want to say something and you want to see something, put it in here, send it to us, and we're always looking at that. And we really like feedback on what we can do. I know it's kind of boring. I'm just talking, but I figured you're at least seeing things, and you can come in and out and get a way to how to apply this information, because there is a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of things to do. There are a lot of new concepts here. Somewhat. I mean, I think a lot of this is traditional stuff. Just look at it a little bit differently, sliced and diced a little bit different. But I think that the core to this is pace and form cycle. That's the core to this, and those are the most difficult subjective things in handicapping today. So let's look at the Kingland race. We had the 7 Mischief Afoot. Oh, that's an interesting horse here. We thought this horse had a look. This is a dirt race. James Toner, that's the trainer of this horse. So I just kind of go down and look at Mischief Afoot. Interesting to see Ortiz on this horse. But Toner's typically a turf trainer, so it's interesting to see this horse on the dirt. It's kind of usually his focus area. But interesting plot. This is interesting. I kind of like this race now, more and more so. Now, we talked about like Kingland favoring horses forwardly placed, but this race looks like it's got some contention between the 2, 5, 6. You can see the contention flame. You can see quadrant 1 is kind of a little bit crowded there. Looks like the standout on that is the 8, but the 8's run style is more a presser closer. So it'll be interesting to see if he's kind of forwardly placed. I want to dig into this race. So this is Kingland race 6. This is interesting because I think our 7, especially at 20-1, is intriguing. So let's. I mean, just plot alone, 7 and 8 kind of stand out on the plot a little bit here. So let's look at. Let's go to the grid here. This is race 6. Oh, I'm on the wrong day. Let me just go to grid that way. It's the best way to do it. Well, there's a lot of good stuff out here today. Oh, it's a good racing day. I think this is, you could do some damage today. Get lucky. That's the only other thing too. You got to kind of get lucky. I apologize. I'm on a kind of a slow computer, so some of these things are taking a little bit longer than they normally take to come up. Yeah. So this is the race. So I want to look at this. First thing I like to do. I showed you this before. I just want to kind of get a gauge in the current form. So what I say, why I look at 45 days, is because I just want to look at what I consider their current form cycle. Right, you can project improvement off of that, but just to get a gauge of where you have to be to kind of run in this race. And you can see that the horses are all kind of in the low 90s. So, looks like the optic fig range. You're going to have to run between 92 and 98 to win this race. So it looks like the 7, just on that alone, looks like this horse fits from a numbers perspective. But there's some other good horses in this race, and I think they'll take money. Let's look at the 7, though. I'm going to clear the filters and get back to look at just the 7. Oops. Yeah. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay. This horse is 3rd in his form cycle. That's a good thing. His horse is improving. This horse had a kickback in his last race. So just on a form perspective, it looks to me like this horse is okay. I mean, and he's run races in the triple-digit OptixEQ range. So this horse, obviously, he's got talent. This is 3rd in his form cycle. He's actually getting even though he's going to an optional claimer, this is a very, even though the price of this race is, he looks like pretty much a lateral to a drop to me. Minimal at least. Drop probably is more like it. You know, going from a grade 3 at Tampa. Yeah, this horse looks. I you know, just on that alone, I don't get the morning line. I just don't get it. I like the fact that Ortiz gets back. Ortiz is one with this horse, right? And he fits this horse. Make sure that we got the right Ortiz. Yeah. So Jose Ortiz fits this horse. I don't know. You know, maybe you know they don't have the kickback in their analysis of the morning line here. So to me, this horse, without even doing anything else, just look at the plot, looking at the kind of race style. I mean, this horse is definitely going to key around this horse in all slots in this race. I can't believe he's going to be anywhere near 20-1 in a field of this size. There's only 8 horses in this race. You know, so yeah, that's. I mean, there's not much else to do here. I guess I'll look at the 8 because he's the other horse that plots that big square. Don't like him as much, right? Because I've been following this horse a little bit, and he's really been getting setups, okay? And he got a setup 2 back in a stakes race in Hungary, and he ran like crap. Let me look at my extended comment here. He was in a good spot with 3 wide duel, even money favorite, never free, no push from mid stretch, way over bet. Okay, there you go. Then he came back and got weather. And again, another tactically advantage race. And he took advantage of it this time, and he ran a big figure. And he's run triple digits in the past. But look at the spacing in this horse. I don't know, well, if this horse is really all that sound. I mean, I just don't like to see the starts and stops as much as I do. It's something with this horse, right? I mean, obviously he's got talent, but you know, I don't know. Maybe I prefer the 7 over this horse. That's for sure. I think this race is worth kind of just going through. The 1 Major Fed, he's got like a layoff followed by another layoff. That's an angle I don't like. I mean, he is getting back to dirt. That's positive. I don't know if he wants this one. You can see we have a keyword here, projection of shorter after the no finish, going 8.5. You know, he's won at 8.5. I just don't know if it's his optimal. He probably could win at 8.5 here. But the layoff, you know, maybe the switch back to dirt can wake him up. Notice his only Kingland race was pretty weak. I mean, obviously it was a grade 2. Major Feds, okay, I guess. I just, you know, again, when I'm just comparing horses here, I think, again, 7 over the 1. The 2 War Stopper, we thought he improved off his return. He was off for a while. You know, again, this horse looks like, you know, he definitely can handle 2 turns. He's, you know, run his best kind of races going a route of distance. Came back in a sprint. Probably needed the race. It looked like a potentially key race for us. And when he came back, they put him on turf. Okay, so what we could be looking at here, War Stopper is kind of because turf is not what he wants. Look how poorly he ran on turf in his first 2 races. So complete wrong thing. So I'm thinking that was another prep possibly for improved effort, and this course is capable. So 2 to me is the other horse that's interesting. This race to me is a bettable race. I mean, I just looking at this race, it's kind of intriguing to me. This horse ran 3rd in that race where the 7 came out of last. You know, this was last year's version of this race. So yeah, definite contender. Let's see if he gets any kind of rider change. Gets Pratt. Yeah, War Stopper. Yeah, yep. I like him. I like him. I'm liking this race, guys. I'm liking this race. Okay, 3 Enforceable. 2nd off a layoff. Another horse that's capable. He graded stakes, placed 3rd in the New Orleans. Don't understand the layoff. Synthetics. Now he gets back to dirt. There's a horse that's can run okay here at Kingland. I think he's got a 4th and a 3rd. I'm looking through the form here. Yeah, another horse that's obviously a contender. Don't like him as much as the others. the 2 and the 7, but another horse that you probably include. The 4, just what I just don't like about this horse. First of all, it doesn't look comparatively fast as the other horses. Those Oaklawn races, even though the purses were good, I thought it was a little subpar. I mean, and then you have these slow out of the gate 2 of his last 3 races, and in trouble too. So, we've talked about this a lot today about gate horses. Especially if you're playing, them as key horses, it's tough. I mean, it's just, you want to stay away from them from that perspective. Not saying they can't hit the board, not saying they can't win. Just horses, when you start seeing, slog, trouble to start, gate, it's worrisome. It could be headed the wrong way. The 5, Farmington Road, he's okay. I mean, he's ran a good race on his last race, so maybe he's it's just another horse with third off a layoff. I don't know though. Let me see his dirt races. Yeah, I mean, he's won on the dirt. He's run 2 good races on the dirt against lesser. I think he might be more turf, so he might be a little bit up against this. Looks a little tough. Like I said, it's only good. Go back to his dirt filter. There's only good races on. Well, I guess he ran well in the Arkansas Derby last year, but he's okay. I don't know. It's up to you how you want to include this horse. I mean, he's got some back class, but since his 4-year-old season, he really hasn't shown a lot of upside. I mean, he's kind of still around the same figures he was compared to some of these other horses that have been tossing kind of triple digits in. So I'm a little bit iffy on the 5. Okay, let me go back to his plot here for a second. Well, let's go to the 6. This is a horse that another horse that really hasn't improved since his 3-year-old season. Expected a little bit more upside. No keep in an Arkansas race, then came back to another Arkansas race. They kind of dropped him. He was lone speed and finished 2nd in that race. Seems like Arkansas is kind of where he likes to run, but I don't know, he kind of needs a lone or perfect kind of trip to do his thing. Let's see. Let's go back to the plots because I think we covered it. But he's got a little potential to maybe hit the board because he may have a pace advantage in this race. He's a circle. That could have a lot to do with the return race. Why he's a circle and the race before the Preakness. So I cut him some slack and consider him for an underneath position in tries. So for me, I'd be keen around the 7 to 2, and I guess was the other strong one in this race for me, and then kind of playing around with the 6 underneath. So 2, 7, and then 6 the horses that I kind of looked at in this race. So that's a good race, and definitely worth taking a look at it, maybe playing. So yeah. Okay, go back to Rod. Let's look at the 7th. I mean, we've got 3 horses that have green keywords in the last race, so might as well look at it. Something's got to give here. Look at his plot. So you got, even though the contention, say it's Sun, I think we're going to see more contention in this race, just on the visuals. Or maybe not. It all depends. But the 2, 10, and 4 are on top of each other. Look at visually, they're on top of each other in surface and distance, and they're all E types. Now, if one of them can bust out, fine. But they all need the lead based on this, based on our optics run styles. Let me just move over here a little bit. I mean, the 2 only had the 1 race, so it's not fair to say, maybe he's stuck. But it's a Roysley Ward. He's drawn inside. He's going to go. The 4 is definitely, I mean, again, little grain of salt, but need the lead horses because they've only run, a couple of times here. The 10 is definitely a need to lead kind of type. If two of them go and one kind of sits and gets a suck up trip, that's a possibility, right? But I wouldn't be taking any short prices on any of these horses. In fact, if I had to take one of them, it'd be just a 10 because of the price differential. So just let that's kind of watching the board. But this race could set up for someone just off of them, and I don't know if that's going to be the 5, 6, 8, 6, 7, or 8, because they're all squares. So I would evaluate these horses. So let's do that. Let's talk about which is evaluate them. So let's go to race 7. We're getting closer to the starts of the races. We're 41 minutes away at Kingland, an hour at Aqueduct, and then 20 minutes at Laurel Park. So we'll take a look at Laurel, shortly. A lot of good racing though today. God, I love this. I mean, this is it. This is the time of year for racing where it really kind of is in bloom, like the spring, and we get the Kentucky Derby preps. We get some great racing. Exciting time. Okay, so what was I doing here? Okay, so I'm gonna look at the 10. Yeah, he needs the lead. Kind of. I don't know if he can sit behind these horses. The 2, Wesley Ward horse is going to be gunning from the inside, and then the 4, Ran Ascot. That's the other Ward horse, I guess. It must be Ward because it's. Yeah, they're going to be going. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know what the instruction's going to be though with the 2 and the 4. I'm assuming that the 4 is I don't know who's the faster one of the 2. Who knows? Maybe the 4. But anyway, it might be the classier one. He ran that Windsor race. He finished 7th, but that's probably like out of 30 horses, so that's pretty good. Interesting to see. So then you got another one of these European horses that's in this race. I just didn't like his races. I mean, he's ran in graded races, so he's got class, that's for sure. But he's okay. I don't know if didn't show much. I mean, I actually did these notes. I guess this horse would probably, he probably was entered in the Breeders' Cup race. He was. Got scratched at that 202-day layoff. I don't know. Whatever. Let's evaluate some of the. I think we looked at the closer types would be this 6, 7, 8. We got a stretch on the 6, and I think this race is going to be 5.5 furlongs. So that might be. Let's look at the extended count because this horse had a better than looked effort in the Breeders' Cup. Took up off heels and lack of stretch letting. Okay, so this is someone you definitely got considered. But another horse coming off a layoff. The 8 was the other one. And this horse is kind of intriguing. I don't know if it was the 6.5 down the hill or 6.5, but ran B+ in both these races. That's positive, especially the fact that he had trouble still ran a B+. Galloped out. Now, 5.5 might suit this horse. The big effort was a 6, but another contender. So it's the board's going to be interesting. So you got 6, 7, and then the 7, no line, stretch, improve. A little bit slower than these horses. Probably not on the level of the 6 and the 8. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play this race. So pay attention to that. Again, I think the wards will be played. So 6 and 8 are viable contenders. And I think when you look at the 6, the one thing I'll tell you about Joel Rosario, I follow him in New York. I watch New York. He's one of the better turf sprint riders I've seen, especially closing. He's great at closing on a horse. He's got a closer here, but he's really good. He's I don't know what it is. It's that type of niche he has with turf sprinters. He does very well with, and he knows how to get them up. So for me, that's maybe one you want to kind of look at. But again, watch the board. If one of these boards kind of gets loose, that could be bad. But I don't know. It looks like they can hook each other, and there's another one in here that can hook them. So if you get enough pace pressure, could be looking at the number 6, Jerry Man, or the number 8, Unbridled Mary, in race 7 at Kingland. Okay? All right. So back to the rod. Okay, let's go to, we're getting close. We're like 16 minutes out in Laurel. Let's go to Laurel. First of all, let's look at if there's anything Laurel-wise in terms of, oh, look, we have an improve. All right, so we got a horse, but he's the, well, he got scratched. Okay, so this horse is scratched out of this race. Well, he was a short price anyway, but we had an improve on it. Let's go back to the website. Let's go to select the race. That's how people new to optics, this is how you kind of look at our stuff. It comes up, you log in, and then you hit the select button if you made a purchase, and then it comes up with the dates your subscription is. If you have old races, they're still there. If you have new races, they're there. Then it goes up to wherever your subscription ends. You select the track, and then you select the race. Okay, so I'm going to select Laurel, race 1. Look at the plot, and we have a field that's 6 horses. Interesting, they're all above the par line, So it's a maiden claiming race. So it's hard to read the plot here, right? You got horses that, from a run style perspective, haven't established a run style. That's why it looks, the old horses don't have that. Secondly, you got a plot fit that's red. You got a whole bunch of horses above the par line, so the plot's not much use. I mean, the only thing you could take out of this is the 1 and 3 are squares, so they got maybe some finishability. The 1 is currently 9-5, and the 3 is 2-1, so they're the favorites. So let's see if we can just look at the grid and see if we can make some kind of case for someone else or not. And it's okay if we can't. So let's take a look at it. See if there's any kind of notes. I'm just go back to the plot for a second here. Yeah, so we got a first time start at 2 and the 7. So I'm not sure about the 7 because it looks like to me, just looking at the speed figures, it looks like the range is okay. And this horse is going to go a mile in debut. Typically, if the because it looks like you got some horses that are okay here. In terms of I'm just looking at speed figures. Look like 70s, mid 70s. That's okay. It looks kind of what it should be for the level. So there's horses that could run to the level. That typically, if they run below the level, that's really where I like to bring in the first time starter. But I don't know. We'll take a look at him on the track. He's 9-2, so he's getting played a little bit. So we'll assess. Here's the thing I do with these races. Let's just start with the number 1, Succeed. What I really don't like is, this horse ran okay last time. He was against, extra wide and ran a winning performance and has back figures that could win. We projected this horse turf early on. Never made it to the turf, but ran pretty well on synthetic. Come back. Now he's coming back 12 days, and he's getting raised up in class. So he ran a maiden 30 at Turfway and made 25 at Laurel, and now he's going up. They may be able to handle up in class because he's running faster now. But I don't like when a horse is lost at a level, especially he's coming back really quick. He's right now he's the 8-5 on morning, 8-5 favorite with live odds. Just clicked up to 9-5. They want to take a chance against it, but let's see what else is in here before I make that assessment. This horse did absolutely no running in his debut, and he was 73-1 pass. He's 9-1. I don't know how pass. The number 3, Scintillo, whatever that is. This is a horse that ran okay in his debut. Just hasn't really improved at all at 4 starts, but he's run okay. Back down in 40, where he's kind of run 3rd, 4th, and 5th. He's going to be another short price. He's the co-favorite. All right. I it looks okay. I can't knock him, but don't love him. I wouldn't be betting him in this race at a short price, though. I just don't have an edge, so I'm not going to really interested in, unless he floats up or something. The five is a horse that tried 2 turns but couldn't keep up, was wide at last time, coming right back in 12 days, dropping. But what I really like about this horse is that he's lost at real reduced levels at today's distance. He ran second, but he had a good trip, and that was at the $16,000 level. So not crazy about horses that have lost below the level that they're running today in a maiden claim. Okay, so not crazy about that horse. Can't really make a case. He's 6-1 currently. The 6 Icy Master, another horse that's lost below the level. Declining OptixEQ, 71, 70, 67. 6-1. Not really. The 7 is starting to look a little bit better as a first-time starter now. Let's look at his works. See, when you click that button, you get the works for everybody. You get the last, do something a little unique. You know, it's had a good work. Decent work out of the gate, 2 back. Good bullet work last time. 5 furlongs. That's solid. Another 5 furlong bullet. Horse been working bullets. Yeah, nothing wrong with these works. What I like about them too is that they're consistent. You know, from March 2nd, I mean, I don't like too many works going into the first race, but at least, I mean, the spacing since March 2nd has been good. 9 days, you know, 7 days, you know, every week. So it's good spacings. Got the 5 furlong works. Got a gate work that's decent out of here. Yeah. No, I mean, can't argue with using this horse in this race. He's 9-2, so he's getting played a little bit. That's not a negative for me. We'll see if he floats up. But in a race where, you know, he's a little suspect in the 1 and the 3, who are taking most of the money, and the other ones I really can't make a case for. 7 looks interesting. I mean, so I'm not giving anything here that's probably not already you've assessed yourself, but at least that's kind of the way I see this first race. Not very interesting. So just look at Kingland. We talked about race 1. Let me go back. Let me find things here. I'm all over the place. So let's go back to Kingland. Yeah, Kingland. Let's go back to race 1 because they're 29 minutes away. Okay, so this is the one where I just kind of said I like the 1 in this. He's 5-2. He's short. 2 is coming off the layoff. I thought the 5 was somewhat capable in this race. He's 19-1. So I think I'll be using that. I guess we got a scratch in the 8. That was the other one, right? The 8 was the one that looked like he's been scratched. So, yeah, I mean, the 5 is, you know, don't love the 5, but a 19-1, he makes interesting. And the fact that the 4 is the favorite, it'll be interesting to see where the board ends up on this. So we got the 1 at the 5-2, the 2 at 5-2, and the 4 at 2-1. So I kind of prefer the 1 of those, obviously. I think he's the key to this race. But with the 8 out now, I think you got to upgrade, you know, the 5 a little bit, and maybe even the 3, just because the 3 might be, I know he's kind of slow, and I don't like him to win in, but just that he might be the speed of this race. Maybe he can stick around for the try, possibility, or exacta. So, yeah, a little bit 1, 5 and 3, considering just based on their prices alone. So, well, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and then I'll come back and we'll get into watching the Laurel race, see how things unfold in that race with the first-time starter and the 2 favorites, and that's it. Okay, so I'll be back in 5. Okay, I'm back. Hold on a second. Almost back. I'm back. So, everyone wants to know that background behind me. That's Santa Anita's background when you go to the racetrack. I took a picture from the restaurant there many years ago, and it's a beautiful backdrop, isn't it? And people who have never been to Santa Anita, look, I'm not promoting anything, but you got to go. I mean, it's just historical. In fact, I was watching Seabiscuit the other day, and it just shows you the history of Santa Anita, right? Some of these other tracks like Plymouth and stuff like that. It's just amazing. Like the fact that Seabiscuit, War Admiral, and amazing, just amazing. That's the great thing about, I think, racing, about any other sport in, baseball has this too, the history of racing versus the other sports. And just storied, it's so old, right? And it's just, the fact that it's gone through all those different periods of American history, ups and downs and stuff. And you saw that Seabiscuit, right, during the Great Depression. And great story. I love that. The book was great too. Just they did a great job with this movie too. So I thought some of the racing too was really. I never seen racing like that. In a movie, I thought it was pretty authentic. I mean, it's a little bit theatrical too, but I was like, I told Kathy, I said, my wife, I said, I can't believe they did such a good job with that. And at the end, I noticed this time the credits for Chris McCarron, who did the race setups. So that makes sense. I mean. You got a real jockey, a real, student of the game. And so that makes sense that he was able to do that. So, all right, that's that. So we're getting close to race 1 at Laurel. We're 2 minutes out. I'll probably go another hour here, but people who joined late, I really, you want to look at, what was it again, guys? Race 6 at Kingland. A lot of opportunities there. We looked at the 2 and the 7 in that race. I'm not going to get much into it, but I mean, it looks like a race you want to take a look at more closely. It looks like there's an opportunity in that race. That looked like the strongest race. We talked about a couple other races. We looked at Optics Rod, which helps us filter and sort on our notes, and we wanted to bring some things that are, hidden gems to light, and hopefully we did that with Rod. Now we're kind of looking at the first race at Laurel that we talked about. There's a first-time starter. It looks fairly interesting. Now he's down to 5-2, so people must be watching on YouTube Live, I guess. The 1 and 3 are down to 2-1. So to me, I'm passing this race. Okay, you don't have to bet them all. That's the way it goes, especially when you want to spend more money on races like race 6 at Kingland. You want to save your bets for the big ones. And with a day like this and with a product like what we have, you can find opportunities all day long. So no need to be in a rush. And so to me, there's no rush with race 1. We're 26 minutes out at Gulfstream. I'm going to take a look at that. But people come in late. I'm going to look at Kingland again. We talked about race 1. We talked about the board. And right now we're at 3-1 on the 1. That was the one we kind of thought, let me go to Kingland again. So it's hard to kind of keep all these things straight. So I'm doing the best I can here, folks. So Kingland race 1. We thought the 2 was a little suspect with the layoff. He's currently 5-2. 5 looked pretty good. I mean, he's cheaper, but I mean, Q1 square. In a race with speed rating of 0 and then 19-1, I'm considering that horse. And obviously, we thought the 1 might be a little bit closer in this race, being a smaller field, and maybe you can move up inside or whatever late. Lannery is very good at, and I think he won. I don't know if it was for the same connections, but won a race yesterday, kind of sneaking up the rail, and may get that kind of trip. May not be that far back. His plot may be more, the standard plot may be more what you're going to see in this race. And then I talked about the 3 just because he's 11-1 and he might be in front. If like the 2 is just, not ready, and the 5 is just too cheap, he just doesn't show up. This horse could find himself along the lead, and maybe he can hang in for a piece. So that's how I kind of saw race 1 at Kingland. They're 20 minutes out now, and so that's that. They're loading into the gate at Laurel here. I'm gonna watch this race with you, and then you get my reaction to that race. And so we'll do some. We'll make sure I'm recording this. Let's do some notes on this race later on. Okay, we're recording that. Okay. I missed the start of this race because I'm moving around here. I missed the start, but anyway, it looks like we got a duel up early here. Oh, let me switch to Laurel here. Yeah, it's the one. Now the one's cleared off. And you got the 3 in second, looks like, yeah. So you 3 stalking, good position second. Looks like the 7's going to get caught really wide here into the turn. It's about 4 wide. Not a good place for the firster. He's kind of mid, he's bunched up in the 3rd flight. But it looks like an easy trip so far for the 1 and the 3 kind of stalking. 5 looks like he's starting to put himself into contention. And the 7, my goodness, he's wide. But 6 has kind of got a covered position, kind of moved into a covered position. The 4, the 7 just took the worst of this. He's definitely traveling about 4 or 5 extra lengths in the rest of the field. The 1's off the turn, still in front. Looks like the 6 has made a good inside trip here for the 6. And looks like he might be, look at this, the 7 is still running on here late. But it looks like the 6 got the trip here. Just got an inside trip and is going to win this race. The 1's going to be second, and the 7 and the 3 are battling for 4th here. So, yeah. So the 6 got a kind of a perfect trip in this race and made the most of it. A pretty good price, I guess, in the short field. I don't know what he went off of. Yeah, he came back. This is one of these horses that what we didn't like. He was kind of lost below the level. But, this was a subpar field anyway, a tough race. So I think the pass worked for me. The 6, he made that lead and he kind of still hung on, and he was just like a late lead change. Just kind of an ugly race. I think the 7 was the best horse in this race. He just got caught terribly wide throughout the rest. So he was kind of I would call X depth wide in our vernacular. Okay, so that's it for race 1 at Laurel Park. So good thing we passed. Okay, next race that's coming up is going to be race 1 at Kingland. The board is still 5-2, 5-2 on the 1 and 2, and the favorite is still the 4. So this is a race we probably can get involved with. Thought the 1 was our key. Thought the 5 and 3 could be a little sneaky underneath. So maybe using them in 2nd and 3rd, maybe exact 1 over 3, 5, and then 3, 5, and 3rd with maybe 2, 3, 4. I don't even know the 4. I don't know if I would use the 4 in this particular area. But anyway, you can maybe do a spread, and then maybe 3 and 5 and 3rd with the 1. Just try to get a better price than the 5-2 morning line on the 1. And then maybe just for the fact that, let me get out for this race here, Laurel. Just for the fact that this horse is a square in quadrant 1, I would make a little backup on that 5 on the win end. Yeah, definitely. Looks like a beautiful day at Kingland for the Lexington and folks. Oh, I'm sorry, Lexington's tomorrow. But what Emily and I did initially when we first opened the live broadcast is we did the Lexington Stakes, and just a review. There'll be a what do you call out? Actually, not gonna have a video out because I did not record it, unfortunately. But I will have an optics focus report out for it. But just to reassess, I think we had the horse that we really kind of liked both was the 2, and then we said, you know, in some way or another, the 11 also was kind of our probably close. Not close, but second choice in that race. And then 1, 5, 7, 8 were kind of our underneath horses to look at. You know, horses that probably will improve and probably be a price. So take a look at that. So that was kind of a little assessment. But I think we were both high on the number 2, the Kelly Breen horse in that race, as a potential horse that can stalk the pace or just wire the field. We like the 11, but just thought that maybe the pace scenario may not set up for him, but it looked like a horse that could at least run past maybe if some of those stalkers get bunched up. You know, horse that can make one late run, maybe get there, but definitely be part of the exotics. Okay, so Kingland race 1, we're at 32 minutes out of New York race 1, and we wanted to look at the board. Let's go back to New York. I thought that was something we could look at. I got so many tabs up I can't breathe. Okay, so this race 1 has got 6 horses in the race. Part of the entry got scratched. Just from a plot perspective, the 5 look good on standard. Again, you got limited starts here, so let's go to the grid on this one. See if I got the grid up. Go to race 1. Oh, that was the other thing. Race 7 too. If people came in late, thought the 4 was very interesting in that race as a long shot. It's 10 to 1 more than 11. Field got reduced by scratches, so you want to be able to reevaluate that race. But I thought that was a race worth watching. Yeah, I kind of like the 5 in this race. You know, if there's some upside on that horse, which I expect second time off. I mean, just based on the fact that he ran a 82 in his debut, stretching out, you know, from 7 to 8. Still staying the 1 turn. Plots, like you see, he kind of plots right there in quadrant 1. And yeah, I mean, there's not, he's 4 to 1 too. I mean, I would take even less than that in this race. They're betting the number 2. And he ran okay, but didn't show improvement race 2, you know, from race 1 to 2, you know, in terms of speed figure for us. No lead in race 1. Looking at a free, clean trip in race 2. Yeah, okay. I guess he's Chad Brown. So, but yeah, I prefer the 5 in here. So yeah, that's that. That's that. And yeah, the other thing I noticed is if you look at the number 2, look at the fig range for his second race. So you can tell he wasn't facing much, that's for sure. You know, compared to the 5, look at the fig range on the 5, 70 to 78, and you know, versus 37 to 43. So that gives you an indication of the strength of the field too. It looks like to me the 6 and the 5, you know, facing a stronger bunch. 6 was wide in his debut. And he ends up, the jock in that race ends up on the 3. Who looks okay. I guess if he can make some, if he can make some excuses for this 3. I mean, he was ranked in his debut. Trouble to start. So he had trouble to start first 2 races, but he had better than look effort to his second race at Tampa. Then he came to New York, was ranked again. Let's see if they made any kind of equipment change on this horse. No. Okay. I don't know. This horse has some upside. I guess he's 5 to 1. Don't like the 2. So, I mean, I think there's a play here. 5, it looks like kind of key horse in this race. 3 looks viable. I mean, the 1 comes out of Parks races, which are, you know, below this level, kind of improving in terms of speed figure, but looks too slow. If you take the 2 out, kind of leaves you with the 3. The 4 has got improving numbers, but I don't know what, I don't like the spacing on this horse. Layoff. First time I saw 420-day layoff. Another layoff, then no layoffs. A little negative on that horse, especially at 7-2. We talked about the 5. 6 is 10-1. Let's see if this 6 was bet in his debut. Davis was on this horse. He was bet in his debut. I don't know. To me, if I'm playing like this race, if I'm playing a double, I'm probably using the 4 and the 5, or I'm sorry, the 3 and the 5 in race 1 at Aqueduct. Let's go to race 2, see if there is a double worth betting. We'll go take a look at the plot first. We are 9 minutes out at Kingland. Okay, so race 2. We got a red plot. No one in quadrant 1. So I guess the speed of the race is the 6, but you don't look too trustworthy. But was against the flow. And last race, I'm just looking at the table here, folks. So move it over a little bit, move it up. So this is where you kind of look. Especially with a race like this where they're limited runs or maiden claimer, you don't even need to go to the grid. Kind of the information you need right there. So we got the 1 first-time starter, Weaver. Again, in a race where maybe some subpar performances, this horse might be viable. Looks like the 4 looks strong on speed figures, and if we look at if you use these V bars, you can tell he's got a definite dominant advantage on speed figures. He's a big square. The only problem is in a race like this, he hasn't shown speed per se, so you don't know how that's going to unfold, right? You probably have to use him, but you're a little curious about him. But anyway, he has a dominant pace, speed advantage. But here's the thing with this horse: he's coming off a 187-day layoff. So can you trust him too? Yeah. So again, for people who were here earlier, I took a shot in this race, right? And that's right. I'm just took me a little while, but we went here before. We did go to the grid on this race, and the assessment we went to filter by turf. Okay, I'm back with, and we said that off layoffs, the 4 usually runs a figure like 81 or 80, 82, something in that range, low 80, right? So. And then we said, who else has turf form? We looked at the 6, but his turf form was basically based at, his last race, the one that was comparable was in fairgrounds at a lower level. So the 9 was a horse we said with the 2-year-old form had projection look. So 9 was, so yes, we did handicap this race. And we came to the conclusion we liked the 9, and we thought the 1, being a first-time starter in kind of this field, had a shot. So double-wise. Probably looking at 3-5 over the 9, and then maybe come back with a 5 over the 1-9. Or I don't know how you play things. If you want to just consider 3-5 over 1-9, whatever. I just try to get a kind of a little bit more value. Maybe at least focus more on the my keys are the 5 and the 9. So figure it out after that. If you're playing the pick 5, that's how you plan to play it. But if you're playing the pick 5, I guess the question is, a lot of people say, do I use the 4? Yeah, I guess so. You can. It just all depends on what how you assess this horse. If you think, I think this horse will probably be probably in this, I would say 6-5 range. Even money. It's not going to be 2-1. It depends. I just don't feel all that confident, and it all depends on how I feel in the ladder races. I don't. If this is a race I don't want to die on. There might be a race later on, or I may use them in a backup kind of scenario and try to get some others home. So it all depends. But just from just a wagering, in the case we're looking at the Nelly double here, I would be against the 4, try to beat him. That would be my angle. And, because of the pace scenario, like, you get the plot fit red and all the rest, I would really probably try to stay away from, for me, trying to figure this out race vertically, because I don't know what the one's going to do. I mean, the one could win, the one could run nowhere. So I'm going to play it more kind of win, and the win in this race is multi-race with the double in the first race. All right, so that's Aqueduct. They're 23 minutes away. They're 4 minutes at Kingland. They're warming up on the track. Looks like the one's making a good appearance. He's 5-2. The odds haven't changed. You still got the 4 as the favorite. The 2 is the 5-2. So again, a race I'm going to take a shot with, kind of keying the 1, and probably trying to get the 3 to 5 in the trifecta or the exacta, that way, and maybe spreading on the other leg. There's not many other horses other than that. I mean, there's a couple tosses, so you figure it out, but you kind of get the idea there in terms of that race. Might as well just keep going with Aqueduct, race 3. Let's see if we could string together a pick 3 or pick 4 or something. Okay, we got a very small field in this race, and I don't know. This race, I thought the 3 had a little bit of a look, just because I thought maybe there's a horse that can control the pace. There's no contention, no speed rating. It's pretty much, with the exception of the 6, an empty quadrant 1. It's a hard read. You see the 3s run styles E. Now, he's only run the 1 race, okay? But I thought the race, again, came up a little bit soft. You got horses coming off layoffs. And even those horses making a move up in class, he might be able to just, take the lead and wire the field. And that's kind of how I'm going to project this one. So, I think that's the kind of way to look at this race. I think we went through the grid a little bit. Let me go into the grid. And they're kind of approaching the gate. They're 2 minutes out of Kingland. We'll take a shot here. Let's go to grid. Let me stop talking for a second. So, when you look at the he's got I said he's got declining speed figures. He's moving up in class. Nothing to wow us about. The 2 dirt horse hasn't shown anything for turf. 3, that was the only like. The 4 is coming out of races, so the 5. So, he's viable. Just the fact that he run in Europe, that makes him kind of interesting. Pluster and Castellano. I wouldn't want to be beaten by a horse if I'm doing a pick 5 or something. So I would include. And then the 6 looks a little bit, ran good, but it looked a little ouchy, right? So you got a race, 247 day layoff, 380 day layoff, 62 day layoff. I'm going to try to beat that one. So that kind of leaves me with the 5 and the 3, and my focus is the 3. So 3-5. So we had 3-5 in the Aqueduct 3. We had, and I kind of leaning on the 3 as the key. Aqueduct 2. Let me just refresh myself. I think Aqueduct 1, we had 3 and 5 too. And then race 2, we had 1 and 9. So that was kind of the first 3 races. And that's what I'll cut it in terms of the live broadcast, probably after race 3. See how we do in those races. And they're starting to enter the gate. One's going into the gate at Kingland. So let me flip back to Kingland. I'm in Laurel. I'm all over the place. Okay. This is the plot for race 1. So let's see how it unfolds. I'm expecting a 3 to go for the lead here. Now, Bejarano, it's not always the most aggressive gate guy, but I think that's the only chance this horse has. So I would expect him to do that. If he's my horse, or I was a trainer, that's what my, instruction would be. But I noticed trainers don't give a lot of instruction. Interesting. Off, it looks like the 2 broke on top, and 3 is being pushed to the lead. They're kind of dueling. So, and the 1's got a good kind of, he's got the trip. He's close up. He's mid-pack, but not too far. He's probably like 4 lengths off the leaders, and he's down on the inside. Now, I don't know. I'm just wondering how the kickback is. Sometimes on Kingland, he's dropped back. So, but he's broke good. I mean, that's what you can expect from the 1. The 2 and 3 are dueling on the lead. The 7 is caught 4 wide into the turn. Okay, so it looks like the 3. So it looks like the 2 is not keeping up. 3's in the lead right now. 2 is pushing hard from the rail. 1 and the 5 are stalking behind, kind of looking for room. 2's done. So here's the 3 in the lead, and it looks like the 9 is making a move, and now the 1 has finally gotten to the outside, and it looks like the 1. Yeah, it looks like the 1's going to run down the 9. And it looks like the 3 maybe not be able to hold off the 6 for third. I'm sorry. It looks like 3's going to hold third. So 1, 3. So we got. I think maybe you could hit the triple there if you did the 1 spread and then the 3 and third. Yeah, I mean the 1 got tripped than we expected. When he broke good, he was up close. Kind of dropped back, but then he got kind of an inside-out move, and Corey Lannery, if not for nothing, is going to be able to save ground. That's for sure. Maybe sometimes it was detrimental. He's like the Calvin Burrell Jr. So the 1 was 5-2, not the favorite. 7-2 on the 9, and then the 3 went off 15-1 to round out the trifecta at Kingland, race 1. Good. I think it's a good outcome for us, huh? Okay, so but by the way, watch the races today, because I'm going to watch the head-on while this is going on, because to me it looked like there could be some kickback on that track. It looks a little dry and it looks like dusty, so something to watch as the races move forward. Okay, now we're going to go to Gulfstream. It's raining very hard. 2 minutes to race 1. Typically, when that track is the way it is, you're going to get speed. Since I mentioned it, might as well take a look at it. Can I take a look at it? We're here. Might as well take a look at everything, right? So race. Let's look at race 1 at Gulfstream. Typically, like I said, Gulfstream, when it gets wet like that, unless it's not drying out, it's going to be speed conducive. It's sealed too, so you're going to get speed. 2 looks like the speed. Okay, I'm not even going to try. I mean, 2 looks at the speed on the plumb. We got 3 horses that haven't run before, so any one of those horses gets speed. So never mind. Let's go to New York, because we're getting closer to New York. We're 15 minutes out, I believe, and 2's getting hammered, 1-2. Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean that's a horse I want to bet against. Yeah, that's what I want to bet against. Okay. 1-2. So currently the 3 is 10-1 and the 5 is 6-1. I mean, I play both of those. But I would even consider exact the box with those horses too, at those prices. Yeah, hey, the 2 could win, but he's getting overplayed. He's getting overplayed. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong race here, so you can look at this. Okay. Well, that's race one. We got still 13 minutes out. Gulfstream's almost post time. And 9 minutes at Laurel. Let's go back to Laurel. I know we looked at the good thing. I mean, the other thing is I want to show you. You have these tabs. You can have a bunch of stuff, and the good thing is we label them so you can bounce around. You have a lot of things open. It's a little bit easier to navigate, right? You don't have to. I think it's useful. Okay, so I'm going to go to Laurel race 2. 3 looks like, just looking at the plot, 3 looks like he could sit a trip just off the 1 and the 2. 5 and 6 look like a little bit deeper in terms of closers in this race. So there's really no value there. 3 to 2. I'm just gonna close up Laurel because it just shows you, though. I mean, like how you can kind of navigate, look where there's value. Emily Gullickson's really good at. If we do something live like this, but she didn't even look at the form and just looks at the board and we'll look at the plot. She's really good at making those quick assessments. Thinks on her feet very well. Okay. Gulfstream, still kind of doing a typical Gulfstream gate crawl. I mean, I'm just seeing water. I mean, I could see them canceling. I've never seen this. I mean, I'm just watching the horse walk to the gate and just splashing water. I mean, it is terrible. It looks. Wow. I wonder if that's even safe. I mean, they're on the outside part of the track they're walking, but I've never seen. They look like they're just sloshing in it. Looking for the Gene Kelly effect in this one. Okay, we're now 11 minutes out. Let's see what the try came. Try for 50 cents came back 76.40. It's a good try. It's good. It's good. So that's like 100 and whatever, 150, 160 to 1. Probably did that for 60 to 1. Probably by having that 330, probably we're able to get about 20, 25 to 1 on the 1, who was our key horse. And that's the idea, right? The win price is, we had an opinion, and our opinion was we thought a long shot like the 3 or 5 would hit the board. 5 finished 5th, by the way. 3 ran 3rd, hung on for 3rd. And we were like not committed to the other slot. So, yeah, probably for like, I guess a $14 investment, you probably got back 100. Yeah, maybe it's a little less than that. Maybe it's about 13 to 1 or something on the 1 if you played it that way. Keying the 3 and the 5 and slots 1 and 2 with the rest. So I didn't look at the board that closely. I'm kind of doing this, so it's hard to get into the betting aspect of it, but you get the idea. I can't even see they got a head-on shot at Gulfstream. Can't even see it. That's how bad it is. I wouldn't be surprised if they canceled at some point. But it's Florida, and you can have that in like 1 minute, and 2 minutes later you can have a sunny day. So anyway, they broke out. It looks like the 2 and the 6. It looks like the 2 is going to make the lead from the rail, pushed by the 5 and the 6. So he's kind of doing the 6 right now. The 5's in between. So at least, again, the plot shows you like the fact that you can at least assess how maybe the race is going to unfold relative to the other horses. So now the 2's in a clear lead, 7 to 1. So the fact that the others firsters didn't break, it looks like this horse might be in a good position here to win the race. 6 is pushing, starting to make a little bit of a move, but it looks like the 2 still got the advantage. The 5 is dropping back. It looks like the 6, who's got better late pace, might push past, but he's been in a drive for a while. Again, let's see. So 2's done, looks like, but so is the 6. 5's kind of running up the rail. 2's done, but he's kind of hanging on. And he's kind of like coming an ugly race. So it looked like the 5 up the inside, 2 second, 3 third. So the first was finished 1-3 in that race. Okay. I think I'm going to close up Gulfstream because the way the weather looks. Good luck. Plenty of other opportunities out here. We talked about some of them again. People that are late. Talked about race 6. We talked about tomorrow the Kingland race in Lexington. Also race 7 at Aqueduct. We thought the 4 had a look at a price. We went through the first 3 races. They're about to enter. And that's where I'm going to cut off after the 3rd race at Aqueduct. So it's 7 minutes after the first race. But we talked about 3-5 in race leg 1, 1-9 in race 2, and 3-5 in race 3. We're trying to beat the 2. It was a short price in race 1. It doesn't have a particular advantage, and that's kind of how we looked at it. Okay, I'm going to get rid of Laurel. So we've got that information. I'm going to focus in on Kingland races going forward here. Ignore Laurel and Gulfstream, just because it just doesn't look like opportunities. Let's see what we have here. So many things open here. Okay, let's go to race 2. And we like the horse in this race, but we're just looking at the board now, and he's just getting hammered. So he was 8-1 in the morning leg. I think people are watching our YouTube video here. He's 4-5 right now, personal best. A horse that we had all kinds of trouble on his debut. So those are the trip note people, I guess, like that horse. So he looks like a viable contender. We also talked about, I think we talked about the 13 in this race too. And he is 21. So he's a horse that you might want to consider in this race too, in your exotics. And yeah, I think those were the horses. You got a first-time starter in the 11 has the big square. He's 6-1. And then, from a first perspective, the 5 probably just because it's, Jonathan Thomas usually sends some live horses out here. The 1 is another firster with the Rosario for Eddie Keneally. So, and then Brad Cox, 12 is another firster. So, those are some firsters you want to look at. But we thought of the ones that kind of run 3, 13, and 11, kind of the way we kind of looked at this race. So, a little disappointed with the price on the 3. We'll see. Let's see if he floats. I didn't look at the doubles. Maybe that's something that someone will look at just to see if he's getting played in the doubles to that level, or maybe just someone put a big bet in on him. So, hold on a second. So hopefully that we're gonna be doing a Derby show preview. I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks out. We'll look at the plot. We'll talk about how the plot has been a pretty good predictor for the Derby. We've been doing plots for the Derby since 2005, maybe. Yeah, so we got pretty much close to 20 years now of data, and we don't look at our tools as predictive, more like analytical. And so, but one thing is that it has been a little bit more of a predictor for the Derby, so that's interesting to note, and we'll take a look at that. And then Emily and I will go through all the horses in the field. And then probably leading up to the Derby, maybe the last week or so, we'll do some live shows. We'll watch on Emily's pretty good. She's been a clocker. I got Donald Harris is also a clocker. They'll be watching some of these horses on video in the morning, and maybe we can relay some of that information as we get closer to the Derby. We're going to have a package, an Optics Focus package. We're going to have some wagering tips and things in there. So take a look at that. That'll be available for sale. So something to look at. If someone's trying to send me comments or notes, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of flying here. Oh, Emily's back. Emily, how you doing?
Hi, good. I've been watching this stream. I love it. It's so good.
Great. It's
so
hard.
Good. I had to jump in. No, just kidding.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's hard to kind of do. It's like
You don't have to tell me twice.
I have more appreciation for those people that have their own like radio show or something like that. And I know why they do so many commercials.
Yeah, or have so many guests on.
Have so many guests, you know. So I think, but we got so much information and we got so much good racing going on. You know, later on in the day, I like New York in his first race. I'm a little against it too. Let me bring the race so you can let me get your comments on the race.
Well, like I said, I've been listening the whole time. Had some lunch, finished up my work. I've been listening. I'm on this 5.
Cool. So yeah. I don't know if you heard the compliment I paid you. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I put in the chat the sunglass emoji.
Did you? I'm foolish here, you know.
Yeah, when you look at the comments, you'll see the little our sunglass emoji.
Cool. Yeah, so you know, like I thought there's a great Kingland race today, and you know, I think the power notes really kind of bring it out, you know. But I can't believe there's a horse that's 20-1 kickback horse. It was a nice horse. It's a good race, race 6. So anyway, so what else is new?
No, not much. Finish up the radio. Did the work.
Oh yeah. So what would you talk about the Lexington?
No, Woodbine.
Oh, is it start
tomorrow?
Oh wow. So so you're gonna be buried now.
I got 4 tracks until after 5 tracks, including Churchill. Right? Because Indiana starts on Tuesday. So we got Oakland, Santa Anita, Indiana, Woodbine, Derby. 5.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you're going to do it your days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So the, you know, what was I going to say? You watch any good movies lately?
You know what I watched? Did you guys watch Bad Vegan yet?
No. Okay, wait a second. Maybe Kathy watched it. Is that more of the same?
Yeah. It's more of the same.
Kathy watched it. I think she's enamored with those things, like you are.
Yeah. Well, my hairdresser was like, she was like talking about it, and I'm like, I gotta get because it was before Vegas, right? And I'm like, I can't watch anything. I gotta like focus on Vegas, like putting all this stuff together and like, you know, regular work and whatnot. And then when I came back and I like was just like, I just can't do anything. I'll watch it. And so I watched it and I'm like, it's more of the same.
More of the same, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen anything really interesting lately. I think I saw Jack Reacher. I saw it was okay. The guy's kind of stiff, but he was kind of funny. He was okay. You know, it's one of those.
Those don't appeal to me.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're you know, they're kind of a release for males, I guess. That kind of movie.
Girls can like them too, just not this one. Just not this girl.
There's one thing I noticed about the guy. You know, he's really built, but he's got like they made him like supposed to be 6'5", and I don't think he was that big because he didn't look bigger than the people. I think he's actually 6'2", the actor. But he's wearing a shirt. I mean, like a jacket that was like it was a short. He looked like he was wearing a child's jacket. All the clothes he was wearing were completely didn't fit him. I guess to show his body off. I don't know what the reason was, but it kind of looked. It didn't look kind of foolish. To be honest with you, but it was okay. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I need TV. I like TV. TV is kind of mindless for me. Just most of it. You know, if you get a good show now and then, challenge you, but most of it is just
there hasn't been like a good show. You know that does challenge you and make you think.
Make you think. You know, so we're post time. Look like they're mulling around the gate in New York. Aqueduct race 1. 2 is 4 to 5. 5 is now down to 5 to 2. So yeah.
I still think 5 to 2 is fair. Any shorter than
that.
I
agree.
It's a little crazy. And I played some doubles listening to the horses in the next race, playing against the 4. I mean, that horse can win, but has had too many chances. And
So the firster is like, you know, whatever, you know, Weaver, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I used it because I can't knock it. I use the 1 because I can't knock the 1. I don't know anything about it. I can knock the 4 easily. Price and too many tries.
Right, and then the layoff, right? How he runs off layoffs. Yeah, he doesn't usually fire his best off a layoff either.
Yeah, I even used the 2 just because.
Yeah, I don't blame it.
Who knows with the 2 because it's moving up in class, it's surface switch, but it could be one of those where like they put the horse knowing, turf is coming. If we lose the horse, so be it. We're going to probably end up having to run for a tag at some point, like whatever. If they take it, they take it. If not, we'll get a chance to run on the turf. So maybe, maybe there's some intent that way. I don't know.
I like that. I think that's right.
It's just more of a playing against.
A play against, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you, I mean, after this race, maybe we'll get a little bit info from you from Bet Bash and tell us what that was all about and how's that fit into racing and all the rest. That'd be good info, I think, for people. So loading in, I know we're all on different delays. The 5 is loading in here now on my screen. And then the 6, I think, is the last one to load. Let's see what happens in New York Race 1, maiden special weight.
Two slug.
Funny.
Oh, sorry, that's a 3, I guess.
It looks like the 5's under a hold early. Still forwardly placed. 4. 2's got the round. 6 is now cleared off. I think they're all grabbing a little bit. Not much pace on. So I got the 4. 5 is pressing now.
Which I mean, we're not surprised because there's no E or EP type. So
right.
Like, oh, we're here. Okay, we're up front, I guess.
So
okay.
the 2's in a pocket.
5's getting great trip. No.
Yeah, he is. I mean, if he's good enough.
Yeah.
2's getting a good trip too. I mean, but he's kind of, I don't know where he's going.
Yeah, I mean, 5 will have first run though.
Yeah, it looks good on it. I'm like, I don't know where you are in the race, but I'm like mid turn.
Yeah. I think we're in the same spot.
5 looks good here. Unless he's, I mean, he's coming off the turn.
Yeah, 2 just 2's. It's gonna be close. Come on, 5.
And the stretch. 4 is not going away.
No.
Now the inside could be good. Yeah, okay. I'm tilting. I'm doing my tilting. It's
all right.
Did you get home?
Yep.
All right. So we beat the 4 to 5 here with the 5.
Nice.
So yeah. So tell me about Bet Bash. I'm just gonna bring up race 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where are you on at Kingland? Okay. Yeah. So Bet Bash was exceptional. I mean, I didn't really know like what to expect. I mean, it's mostly sports bettors, which, obviously, I'm in horse racing and it's not really my world, but we do cross over a little bit. I knew it was sold out. I knew there's a lot of hype on it. Spanky, the organizer, is very well known, and he and I had some good conversations. So I was excited, to meet him and be a part of it. Intimidated, as I told you, I was very intimidated because everybody on the panels and all the information. I mean, it was just such a professional event. That was like still fun. It wasn't like stuffy or anything. So the first night, so I got there on Friday, and I got in I got in early. So my room wasn't ready. So I was kind of just like walking around and hanging out, went over to Circa. And I hadn't been to Circa. Circa is really nice because they're in like the downtown area. Really nice sports book, no horse racing, which is kind of a bummer, but yeah, so I hung out there, and then later on that night was like the early registration. So they had one of the bars. Was it at the D? I think it was either at the D. The D and Circa are connected, even though they're in different buildings. So that was cool. So I met some people there. a lot of people that knew who I was from the Gamblers podcast. So that was
yeah.
Yeah, so met some people there, and then Saturday's when things really got started, and it got started with the first event was called Speed Networking, and they set it up like speed dating. They actually had somebody who does speed dating come in and actually like do the information. So you filled out like a questionnaire, like what are you into, like what sports, like what kind of player, why are you there, are you media, are you a player, you're looking for accounts, whatever. So they have you like, you're set up at the tables, and then it's all, all on your phone, all on the app. It's like, here's your, we're starting. There's 7 minute like one-on-ones with somebody, then you go to the next. So it was really cool just to like meet different people, and talk about different stuff. And I'm like, I kind of felt bad. I was like, whoever's going to get stuck with me is not going to be a youth because I don't have that much sports to offer in this case. But everyone was just so cool and just like so happy to be there. And that was really fun. And then after that, let's see. I think there was like another. Oh yeah, that's when I went to Analytics Bet. They did their seminar, and that was that was really good. It a little bit over my head. It's one of those like I'm gonna have to like keep coming back to and learning from, but it's just so, it was like just so good to get exposed to it. And for the people that are like at that next level, like it's going to take them even to the next level. And they have, just done really well. I mean, they're that whole team. And then after that, there was like another meetup, and then a watch party at Circa. Circa has it's like kind of up on the rooftop. It has like a pool, and then they have like the videos that are around the pool. I don't know what I'm forgetting what it's called, but it's a really like massive setup. It's really cool. So that was up there. And then Sunday started out with a bunch of panels on different topics. From bookmaking to kind of the current state. There was one on the history of the Stardust. I was like preparing at that point because I, had the seminar, had the salute, had the seminar going on. So did that, then had my seminar. And then as far as, the optics, I've kind of already told you about it, but I practiced with you, like how I was going to present. And I was just sort of altering it, showed optics to people, and a lot of the people in the room were not horse players, like at all. Though there was like the biggest horse player in the world sitting front row to me. You guys can look online and find out who that is. But but for the most part, the people that had signed up were not necessarily horse players. That were just trying to get in everything they could while they were there, which was really cool. And so showed plot, showed grid, and then, did like question answer. And then like the last, I would say like 45 minutes or so, pulled up the Santa Anita feed, pulled up the plot, and was like, all right, like, what do you got? Like, what do you see? What do you see? And everyone's like getting into it. And like, thank God the horses ran to the plot, but they typically do, like that was a risk. But I mean, when you trust the data, you use it all the time. It's like, people need it, and it was really cool. And then later that night, there's the
excuse me, Emily, you got a late scratch to 6 at Kingland, and we're 2 minutes out. So
yeah, I saw that the horse was like 67-1.
Yeah.
The 3 look good, like just visually warming up, just as I'm kind of peeking there. Then they had the I forget the name of the bar, but it's a really nice, like it's an exclusive club maybe. On the top of Circa, just gorgeous view because you're looking we're in downtown, so we're looking, looking towards the strip, and just, gorgeous night. It was just really nice. And I flew home on Sunday early, but Sunday morning there was the Bookie Better Breakfast, where it was just like a breakfast buffet, and you're sitting at tables and you can just kind of mingle with everybody. It was just, it was excellent. Such a good event. I mean, I know people are already like excited for Bet Bash 3, and this one sold out. Next one will definitely sell out. I think it was like $4.99, but there wasn't a single person there that was like, I didn't get my money's worth, you know. And there's people, I mean, all the podcasts, everything I've listened to was like, that was like the best weekend of my life. Like, I didn't want it to end.
Wow.
Which, you know, yeah. Yeah, it was cool. It was awesome. I was really, really excited to go and present. And
neat.
I'm gonna go next year.
Let's see what we got here. So, yeah. So the 3 is our big note horse in this race, but obviously didn't sneak past the public. Let me see, what else do we have in here?
Snuck past the morning line maker, apparently, though.
Yeah, wow.
What the hell are they thinking?
Yeah, and then I talked a little bit about the 11 being just a good plot, and the 13 I thought he's 13 to 1. I thought that was value in this race. So those maybe horses you want to consider.
Yeah, the 311 is what, paying like $10 or something?
I can't get behind that, but
yeah.
So it's not really a great betting opportunity here. Looks like the rider's off the 2 going to the gate. That's the other thing is I think it's important when we do notes. I know I would do it in New York. I know you do. It's like when you get horses off the gate or hard to load, having that information is really key to try. Like this 2's really acting up behind the gate. So having that information going forward, there's issues with the horse. So I find it really useful, especially if you're trying to do I really want to key around this horse or not? It could be the difference, in which horse I select based on that. It's like I can't trust a horse that's got gate issues.
Yeah.
We talked about this a long time ago, right? A long time ago with gate horses.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we have it. It's like if we didn't think it was important,
That's right.
We wouldn't add it. But yeah, it's.
So we have the 1 at 6 to 1. Your 2 is a 12 to 1 in New York, and then the 9 is a big 17 to 1. Juicy. This is a race to bet. I think this Aqueduct race too. The 4's not even the favorite right now.
It was the favorite in the doubles.
Oh, was
it? Yeah.
No,
it wasn't by much.
No.
Oh no, the 5 is. Okay, well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Must have been late money coming in because I was kind of, wanting to see, but they were pretty close, so I'm not surprised, but.
Well, we're alive in our double and our pick 3 and whatever else we have going on. Well, we're going to do the first 3 races. We talked about the first 3 races. People who joined us late. I like the 1 and the 9. Emily also added the 2 to race 2. They're all prices. And then race 3 against the favorite there. I kind of like the 3 the best. I think it was, or the 5. I'm confused now. 3 and 5 though were the ones that were on in race 3. Wow, it's a big price on the 9. I think the 9's really sneaky.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, to Lodnick, the Kingland race. Be interesting to see if we get anything out of the firsters too. See how this 13 breaks. See if he's forward early. He's not going to be forward.
No, they're kind of taking hold and wide. It's so weird. It's like you're in the 13 post. You either have to go or immediately just drop back. Like you can't just be like, well, maybe let me go 15 wide and see what happens.
He actually not bad because he's able to kind of get ahead of 3 horses and get inside.
Yeah, I got over. That
was good work.
Yeah, that kind of worked out. Got lucky a little bit.
Yeah. So 3 is stalking the 2, 10's covered up, 4's uncovered now. The way we talk about it is kind of like how we take notes, right, Emily?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now neither of us do notes for this track. Donald Harris does, but he's taking the same approach. Okay, so 2 is
that was one thing that there's. How I mentioned there was one of the biggest horse player in the world, and then probably sitting next to him is maybe the second biggest horse player in the world, and both of them at 2 separate times, not at the same time, were immediately as far as optics. okay, you take notes. How do you quantify it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's great. You can take notes, but like, what is it? How do and we have an answer. Like this is why we do it. So as you mentioned, like Donald does it, Donald does it the same way. Like,
right.
Yeah, we have an approach, we have a system, we have a way of, not just making it understandable. Looks like what?
Looks like the 11 is going to win this race.
Yeah.
The big square. It's tight between the 3 and the 5 for place.
Yeah.
The 3 hit the front. Looked like he was no excuse. I mean, he hit the front early, like the turn, and should have just gone on with it, but just didn't show a turn of foot. I thought in the stretch where the 11 did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the 11 was on the wrong lead, and then once he switched over, he was able to push past the 5.
Right.
So the plot beats me again, Well, it didn't beat me. I mean, to me, it was a no play, but
yeah, I didn't play that race either.
But I think we're at least on the right horses. The 5 was the 5 one of the firsters, yeah, right. I think firster. Or was he a European horse? I don't even know. Oh, it was his second start, I think. Yeah.
No, this can't be right.
I'm on the wrong track. I'm on the wrong race.
Yeah, I was gonna say this can't be right.
Yeah. All right, so that race is over. Did you see the rain in Gulfstream? I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw them kicking the water up.
Are they still going? They canceled?
Yeah, they're still going. That's first it was a 5 was a firster for Tom. That's the one we mentioned. Jonathan Thomas. Usually has live horses. Live for at this meet.
That's like a Jonathan Shepherd owner.
Yeah. Is it what do you call
Augustin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he took it over. I'm like surprised that didn't end up with Grand Motion. But
I think they both do. I think it's they kind of split.
But who did Jonathan Thomas work for?
I think he's Pletcher. I think he was Pletcher.
Oh, is he Pletcher? Okay.
I think so.
All right, so that was Kingland race 2. Kingland race 3. Trying to think. Oh, I thought the 6 looked okay, just from a.
Wait. Okay, he worked as an assistant to Clement, and then more recently an assistant to Todd Pletcher. So.
Okay.
But he had Catholic Boy. That was like the big horse that he.
Oh, sure, yeah. I remember picking him for the Travers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a talented horse. So that's pretty good pedigree, huh? Clement and Pletcher.
Yeah.
if you go to the pedigree, which I'm not a big fan.
That's pedigree angle I can deal with.
Yeah, me too. All right.
You know what's going to come up soon is Oakland.
Oh, okay. So I'll defer completely to you on that. It's a race.
Oakland's tough, man. What?
No, I'm just laughing. It is tough. So it is the first race. Interesting race. You got it's a maiden claimer. So it's hard to kind of read the plot. You got, these horses have an established run styles. You got a red plot. Look at the grid. Let's look at the 1 shorter. Yeah, again, he's had a lot of chances. I don't like that he's lost below the level. The 1.
Yeah, I mean he's getting ignored. He's currently 11-1, so you could, if you wanted to play him, but the shorter isn't great. That's for sure. The 2 looks okay.
It just looks slog.
Yeah. But I mean, class drop.
Yeah, but he only had the class drop. Slog, trouble start.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
So,
yeah. All right. Pass
3,
the in there.
3. They run. Look like it stopped raining there. Look, that'll be a fast track by the end of the day at Gulfstream. 3 slow out of the gate. Was he betting his debut at all? He's betting a little bit. You know, maiden dropper, got to be a contender in this kind of race, right?
Yeah, I mean,
slogs. I mean, we got a lot of slogs in this race, so we got a horse that could maybe take a pace advantage here. It could be all over. The 5, I don't like the losses below the level. 6, no. I mean, he's another dropper. That's about all I see right now.
I mean, not really, because he ran in the. I mean,
yeah,
like a lateral move in those first 2 races.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I understand. Those first two races gave him enough confidence to put the horse up in class. I mean, I don't know. 6-year-old that's still maiden.
Yeah, I mean, this is another horse. It's like, what were we waiting for to drop this horse?
Yeah.
Him to turn 7? Like, I mean, come on.
And then you got a BTL on the 8 in the last race.
But that horse is up in class and stretching out for the first time. I mean, this race this is what I'm saying. Like, Oakland's hard because it's like where.
I'm on the 3 by default. Not because I like anybody. What's the odds on
the 3? The 3 is 3-1.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no bargain.
I mean, maybe the 3 drifts. It's 18 minutes, but
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's so hard because, like, yeah, you'll have something like that, and you're like, okay, here's an opportunity, and it's bet down. And you're like, oh no, I don't want that. Well, now I have,
right.
Now is there opportunity elsewhere, and you're like, ooh, yikes.
So it's all about the price. It's all about So in New York, still got 9's up to 20-1. I mean, hey folks, put a couple of olives to win on this horse. Okay, you will be disappointed. He'll run.
Or if you're alive in the double, you're okay.
If you're alive,
or you could do both.
Yeah. No, if you're alive in the double, don't worry about it. You get paid. I think the double was it's like the second biggest one.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think it was the biggest one. I'm not sure. It was over 115 or 14 or something like that for $1. So.
Yeah. Okay. Then you don't need 20.
Yeah, you don't need 20. You get way better than that. And then so I think this is the race you want to. I vertically, like I said, I think I said it before. You got on Emily's a race like this. I don't feel comfortable vertically because I just like the one could win or not finish. Right. I just I don't have. So these races I either like horizontally or just make a win bet or that kind of thing. I don't have any confidence vertically on a race like this. And the odds are big enough where you can do that. This great spread to multi-race kind of thing. If you include your 2, I think the 2 was actually the biggest double.
Okay.
Was it? Yeah, I think it was actually. Even though they're, I could check that. What else am I going to do? It's a nice day in New York, too. Okay, this was right there. Doubles. Well, yes. Oh, actually, it's the longest double. So the 9 is $114, and the 2 was $111.
Okay.
The 1 was $55.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 4 and the 5 are 10 and 13. So the 5 is the favorite in the double. I'm very surprised about that. But I guess everyone's like had it with the 4,
Yeah.
But I think the 4 being the second choice is actually a decent bet now. Does that make sense?
Well, he's favored right now, the 4.
Yeah, but I think based on the doubles, it's a significant amount of difference that he'll probably go second. I would think, but
he's favored. He's big in the exactas. He's much shorter than the 5.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, the 6 is running off right now.
I see that. They can do it in that one.
Yeah, look at the difference of the warm up of the 3 and the 6.
Yeah.
Even the 1.
Yeah, so I will put that in my pre-race negative on a horse like that. And so next time the horse runs, you get to see that chock full of information. Optics notes. Okay, we're done with Oklahoma. I'm not going to focus on that race. Doesn't look like something we want to. And then Kingland's the next race up. Yeah, so the Kingland race, I didn't have a strong opinion. I just thought maybe the 6. I mean, plot-wise, 6 looks pretty good. I think he's got some. I can remember.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, let me see. That was the other one that we talked about before. Is like the 3 looks like from the plot perspective, it's got a pace edge, but he doesn't run that one.
Yeah.
How
has McPeak sent out horses at Kingland? How are they doing?
I'm not sure.
Because I've talked about this before. He's one of those barns that is like
usually does well at this meet. Yeah, he's doing well. Look. So I'm gonna take these filters. For the users, I did a V-bar trainer jockey, and I'm just gonna take everything out except for trainer jockey for this meet. So he's got the 3, Emily. So relatively speaking, in this race, other than the 4, who was Mike Maker, he's doing okay. Oh yeah, okay. So this race I was on. That's okay. Now I remember. You get older, you got to kind of, especially when we're doing this across the track. 4, 5, and 6 were the horses I was kind of. I was like talking about price, like who would.
Okay.
But I thought 4, 5, and 6 were the contenders in here. Okay, so that was that. But to your answer of the McPeak, yeah, relatively looking okay at this meet. Looks like the Maker is doing a little bit better, but those are the guys that usually focus on this meet, right? So 4, 5, 6. What's the odds there?
Wow, this race is bad.
4, 5, 6. You don't look like there's much of an edge there. Maybe the 5 looks okay, in terms of price.
Yeah, but I mean a closer, deep closer.
I know, but it might be a bunched field. That's the only thing I'm thinking. The field may not be that. But he's another horse that has trouble at the gate. I don't know. To me, I'm probably passing in that race too. Sorry, folks. But we had the first race at Kingland. We gave some good stuff out. And I think the next 2 races at Aqueduct should be okay. The first race was good. So you got to take what you can get. Can't force it. No force. I do that all the time. I force all the time. I got to take my own advice sometimes. Some of these days get you crazy, but today's a good day. There's opportunity down the pike, so
yeah,
and that's good. And I was showing the folks like how to use rod or utility. I think that's a way to try to, because there's so many races coming at you. It's a great way to kind of get at least started, get your day started, and kind of figure out where you might find opportunities down the road. You never know what's going to happen, the odds and stuff like that. But at least it gives you a way to kind of uncover like this mass of information that's come at you every day in terms of racing. And, looking at, 10 races from like 10 different tracks. Just a way to do it.
Yeah, I know. I think that's actually, it is a good approach because it does kind of gets you started, kind of puts you in like a place to start thinking. And let's say something pops, right? Let's say you look at something and you're like, whoa, like this is, first couple, you're like, all right, the chalk looks fine, pass, whatever. One pops, and you're like, ooh, this, 6-1, or I don't like this favorite or whatever. And you're like, okay, it's in the 3rd race at Santa Anita. Okay, that's the early pick 5. Let me take a look at that sequence. Knowing I got it right. So it's like like you said, you don't force it, but all of a sudden you're like, well, what am I going to, how am I going to utilize this horse? Is this going to be a win bet? What are the other sequence? Whatever. It's
exactly. So we're post time at Aqueduct. I don't know what all of a sudden Aqueduct is becoming a little bit of a delay loader. And I'm caught up by it. What do you call people that don't put it in the gate right away? The Gulfstream effect.
Post drag.
I guess Tampa is the worst. It used to be the worst. I don't know. I don't follow much anymore, but you know, you can go get a cup of coffee at 0 minutes, and you know, you can actually make the coffee and then come back later. Still got enough time to get your bed. Crazy.
We'll have to test it. They just put a coffee shop down at the bottom of my building. I should try it one day. See if I can make it all the way down, order a coffee all the way back up before they.
Is it a brand or is it a local coffee?
It's like kind of a combination. So it's like a local chain.
Okay.
Like they have a few shops like in Chicago, but
that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm at it. I don't want to just.
You know, it's funny because they were building it like when Ben moved in. Like Ben is our friend who does work at Donegal. He lives in my building. Ben moved in like maybe like a month before me, and they had like started to like build the coffee shop. You know, and so when I moved in, like did like my lease, you know, they're like, oh, we've, coffee shop coming. And then like a year passed, there's no coffee shop. So
coming soon.
You know, Ben and I would like walk the dogs, and like we noticed like each day they'd put like one thing in, and like, okay, it's a table. All right, guys, call it a day. We'll see you tomorrow. Like a shelf or something, and then like. Now it's open.
Good. It's good to have. I make my own coffee because it's like nothing's that close to me, and it's I like Dunkin' Donuts. You know, I don't like it's coffee that's too strong.
Okay.
I'm wimpy when it comes to coffee. I'd rather drink like 3 cups. I think when I drink like 3 cups of coffee, it's like drinking like 1 cup. The way I make it, versus a Starbucks, I'd be like at 0.3 a cup of coffee versus a Starbucks coffee. I drink that coffee, I'm like, oh my god, can't drink. And they give you such big cups. And so that's a big difference between Europe and like the U.S. Like, you get strong coffee, but you get like a shot glass. You know, they give it to you.
Yeah.
All right, they're in the gate at New York. Let's go 1 and 9. Then they're off.
Well, one looks
sending a 1.
Yeah, sending. One looks turfy's green, but that was the right move. Let's get out of there.
Nice grab. He's kind of like.
Oh, the 2 is like, no, I'll see you.
Yeah. I'm just gonna, and the 9's. I'm just gonna hang out here wide. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean.
Ground loss on the turf. What could go wrong?
I drive me crazy.
I'll tell you what. No excuse for the 4 today.
No, I know.
The 4 doesn't win this race with this trip.
He's valued in this race too, by the way.
Oh, now, yeah.
2 to 1 versus 6 to 5. I know the one thing I would tell you though is the speed's been doing well on the turf. I mean, that's why I think they sent 2.
Yeah.
But you're right. The 4 is getting. Look at this. He's like pulling him up, pulling the guy. 9's doing nothing.
No. 5 can win this. 5 is just gonna scoop right on by. Oh, maybe not. 4, this is your day. They're trying too. Look at this jockey on the ball.
He's still gonna lose. He might have found a horse that's
that hangs just as bad. There should be a rule in that case. It's like if you guys dead heat, you're still losers. You still gotta come back to me.
That might have been a dead heat. I mean, that was close.
4 finally win. LOL. Maybe it's gonna be close.
You 2 horses that you've been there, and like killed each other off.
Yeah. Well, I had a win. The main play was the win bet on the 5 in the last race. So that already hit. This was the double was a play against.
Yeah.
So
who do you think gets this? Mom, I'm at 5, 4, 5, 4 right now.
Ooh, I have no idea. It's close.
Wow, I can't separate them.
Yeah.
That could be a heater. That really could be a heater.
We got a question. Who do you like at race 3 at Oaklawn? I mean, not Oaklawn, Kingland. Sorry, I've got Oaklawn.
Yeah,
the 5-1, 5, 4, 3, 6.
5-1. Yeah, wow.
God, they bet that 6 to 5 to 2 after running off in the warm up. Oof. Yikes.
Well, we got race 3 up here.
Oh yeah, this was the race that can't. Yeah, I don't like this race.
Yeah. Let me look at this. I thought to me it was. I think the 4 and 5 are getting over. 4 and 6 are getting over bet. I thought the 5 to 1 was fairly interesting, and let me see why again. I'm going to pull up the 5.
I mean, I can see the 5 just because it's like just such a class change that the 5 should win today or never.
Well, here's the case I made, for the 5, okay. Right? So he didn't like the grass, right? Slow out of the gate, trouble at the start. So
okay, but what? But my question with this horse, just in general, why was he even on the grass? Because they think he's a dud.
Oh yeah, but you're in a conditional claimer now, right? No, where's too late.
Right.
You might be in the right place, right? But I'm just saying, just so you're honest, the race before. Let's say this horse just doesn't handle slop, and if you just look at his rest of his races, I don't know. I don't like, like we talked about, I don't like trouble out of the gate. Trouble, that to me, something's not right there, right?
Yeah, and also, I mean, they're running him at those longer distance races. We've talked about that before. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's definitely. You kind of say he's like a lesser of evils.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's kind of evil also. So I don't
know. So let's look at the 4. He's going to be the favorite. He's another horse I think he's better on dirt. A lot better on dirt. Don't you think? I mean,
yeah. Now the question
is improving numbers.
Is he better at one turn?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Because his 2 races on 2 turns weren't that good, right?
Right.
And then the 6, who should get a good stalking trip. 3rd off 11. For me, this is the one I like the best.
Yeah, I can get there.
Yeah, and synthetic last time, he gets better, gets a drop, probably in the right spot. It's more tactical than the other 2.
9 to 5.
Yeah. So, not giving you any great information.
Who else? Is there anybody else?
No, I don't think so.
You need to put in a first-time starter. Just give us somebody else.
This horse, just broke his maiden slop for maiden 30 at Fairgrounds on off the turf and ran a figure a good figure, but I can't. I don't like that. 2 scratch, 3's the other one. Another maiden breaker, then a layoff after the maiden breaker. I can't. I don't know, 4 to 1. Don't want 4 to 1 on that horse. And then the 7, layoff again, off a bad race, drops.
Wait, where's the horse before? The 6? No, not the 6. Was it the 3? That horse, that recent maiden breaker. What was that? What was that other horse?
This one, 3. This one, yeah. 3 and the 1 are maiden breakers.
This horse I could get to. I mean, there's plenty that I don't like, but at least he's run at Kingland at a level that's comparable to today. The second off, maybe some regression, broke slow, had traffic, whatever. Then won. Now he's been rested.
Yeah, McPeak. And
a lightly raced horse. I mean, there's no red. There's the only horse there's no red. Other than the layoff lines.
Let's look at the plot. This is the one that, I wasn't sure. So, maybe they put this horse into a race early, did I?
Yeah.
I could see that. Looks good on the track, by the way. Looks alert. It's a bad race to bet. It's hard. It's like, not feeling it. Gave you 4 horses and all the favorites.
Yeah, I mean the 3 you could maybe argue is value.
Yeah, I mean let's see how that race come back. By double clicking, what you do is you take any run line in the grid and you double click it, you get the plot for that race, so you can see result plot. Then you go to the grid. And so when you bring up the grid, if you filter on races that I'm sorry, I'm an old machine, by the way, so excuse me for the slowness. It doesn't take this long. Okay, so if you go greater than the day of the race, there's February the 16th. Oh, look at that, Emily.
Oh.
Super live.
Wow.
That's the play. That's the play. Without a doubt. Look at that. 4 next time winners a second. All right. All right, everyone. 4-1 is value. Told you Emily's good this. What did I tell you?
I was doing trip notes at the same time.
What did I tell you? So 3 is the value, and let's hope let me just look at his works. See if they're gonna put some speed into this horse. Yeah, typical workouts. Yeah, McPeak doesn't. I like to see them be forward with this horse. Go for the lead. There's not much pace in here, right? I mean, the 7's really not a.
Well, they did warm up the 3, so maybe that's a sign that they are trying to.
Yeah, Emily and I have been watching races now together for like 8 years. I forget how long time, and we did all kinds of things. And we looked at warm-ups, and warm-ups generally, like everyone loves good warm-up. We found it to be a negative issue for the most part, except for one track, right, Emily? Kingland. Kingland, it seems it's a positive thing. For whatever reason, don't know, it is.
Except Europe, and the other exception is European horses are allowed to warm up.
Yeah.
Because they're used to it. But
for the most part, it was a negative elsewhere.
Well, and then it was a real negative, as we saw in that last race at Aqueduct. I mean, that horse was a toss, that 6. Absolute toss. Like, there's no way that horse is going to be able to still have energy to run a race after that.
Okay, so we're going in the gate of Kingland. Let's see. He's down to 7-2. I still bet him.
They're
right for the lead. Pop. Snapple crack. The 8's being sent, but 3's got the speed on him.
And the inside. I mean, the 8 could have taken the lead, it looks like, but they were trying to be wide. I don't know what they're doing.
He's ranked at 8. Or the rider's just grabbing him. I don't know.
Oh, is that the horse that was stretching out? Or no? Oh no, that was the 8 horse at Oaklawn that was stretching out. Never mind.
So we got 6 is in a good stalking pocket position. 5 is not going to go anywhere today. Just don't. Oh, come off the rail. They're bunching. 8, the 8's all in. He's done. So you got the 4 stalking the, and you got the 6. So this looks like 3, 4, 6. Here comes the 6 off the rail. He's the winner. It's over. He just took the lead. Yeah, he plotted the best, that's for sure. He ran to his plot, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think the first was the right idea.
Yeah.
Pass. Get out of this race ASAP.
Yeah. So, all right.
What are you doing? This is the last one at Aqueduct?
I'm gonna do the last. Yeah, this is the last one, Aqueduct, and let me go back to that, and then we're gonna close it out. And thank you for everyone who joined us. And yeah, we'll see you soon. But I'm not going anywhere yet, so hang in. So race 3, I'm gonna flip over to. I'm gonna check some of my emails. Okay. So in this race, I had initially handicapped 3. I liked the 3 in this race, and I thought the 5, just the fact that it was a Euro. But I liked the 3 in the New York race. Oh, let me flip to New York. He's the favorite. Okay, no bargain here. Well, he's the second. 3 and 5 are the favorites, so no value.
5, they're not touching the 6.
Well, let's see the doubles. Wow. So 3 is the favorite in a double by $1 over the 6. And then the 5 is twice the price. So, yeah. So I think they'll be close. 3 and 6 will be close at the end. 5 will float up. Probably close to his morning line, I guess. Maybe a little below 7-2, maybe. So no real value. I mean, other than if you're dead set against the 6, I don't know what the exact pool would play on 3, 5. I don't know if I would play it anyway in a field like this. Let me see the 4. Let's see if we can see any races. It's 4. What's the anything coming up? Let me just take a look at for the Aqueduct race. That's unexciting to me.
No, because Kingland just ended, Oakland just ended, and Gulfstream is a bust. Unless, are you following Laurel?
Yeah, I do follow Laurel. So we got, let's take a look at race 4 coming up. By the way, just for sakes, that race 3 at Kingland, if you ever want to see what a perfect trip looks like, number 6 got a perfect trip. Okay, so this is race 4 at Laurel. Let's look at the grid. Look at the plot. Got a red plot fit. Looks like the 1 is 5-2. Don't trust him in that race. Look, he might be the speed of the speed, but no confidence with his finishability. He might be out there, he might hang on, but right now he's the one of the 7 other choices. And just based on the plot, I mean, probably like the 7 better than the 1, but that's neither here or there. Let's look at the grid. Yeah. The 1, like if he's loan, he's okay, but he's no guarantee. See all the loans in his thing. So he's kind of a need the lead type. We'll be in the lead, but can he hold? That's the thing. With the 7, probably it'd be pressing. 2.
Yeah, they're all above that par line.
Yeah.
Can you look at where he's been above the par line in the past?
Sure.
No, it's like my new favorite angle. My new favorite.
Okay.
Oh yeah, usually. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
So above the par line, he's won 4 times. So let's see the 2. Oh, we gotta resort this.
Not a fan.
No.
Been at this level too many times.
Yeah. 3.
3 is okay. 3 is okay.
Yeah, he's okay. Just
oh, I can see it.
He's had he's in good form here.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to move him up.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're moving him back down, right? Is that what you see? And they move him back ranking wide.
Yeah, but that's 2 turns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back at 1 turn today.
Yeah. What's he got?
It'll be okay.
Yeah. 4. Peaked, maybe?
Yeah. This is starting a new form cycle. Might need a race.
Heard that before. 6. This horse might have peaked.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I just on the plot, I like the 7. He's dropping a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think he can stalk. I mean, I wanted to drop for him, and he dropped him to his level at a big race.
Yeah.
At this level. And now they brought him back up.
This is repeating form cycle pattern.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's every other, because even in the March 4th race, that's still a B.
Yeah. He fits.
Oh yeah.
And you should get the right trip. So you should stalk the 1 and push past.
Yeah.
3's even 6 to 5 now. So I like the 7.
No way. Yeah, no, that's no good on the 3.
Yeah.
3 of them, like I was looking at it as like a long shot, like under the radar.
Yeah.
But the 7 should be favored, in my opinion.
He might. I don't know. He might not go. The one thing about places like Laurel, because of the pools, the odds could change dramatically closer to the race. Let me see what he is.
Yeah, the handicappers have the 7 picked on top.
Well, 1's the favorite in the pick 3. See the double. 1's the favorite in the double. 7 is second choice. And a close third choice is this. So 7 and 6 are going to be around the same price. The 1's going to be the favorite, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 6. Did I say the 6, right? I didn't say the 3. This 3 is going to float. Someone put a big. I think people watching YouTube live with the optics people. when you say you made a case for it, I think someone made a big bet on the 3.
Hammered it in.
Hammered it.
Yeah, 3 was in good form till that crazy allowance race.
The 3 is the 4th choice in the race, according to the doubles. So someone put a big bet on the horse. Oh, he's still getting back. Right, he floated a little bit now.
Oh.
He'll float.
I mean, as far as the last comment, if the only thing that there is to critique is the spelling error, I'll take it. If that's the only criticism.
What's that?
They're making a comment because it says YouTube live, LIBE versus live.
Live, LIBE?
Yeah, it's how it's.
Oh, Jesus.
So my reply is if that's the only fault of been live for over 3 hours, then we'll take it.
I think I had some dyslexia on me, but that's okay. No, I'm just joking. I haven't been diagnosed with dyslexia. I don't want to say I am. Yeah, well, I do that. I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning when I started this thing. I feel like it on the West Coast. It's only 11 o'clock. I feel like I've been through a full day already.
Well, we jumped on it. We jumped on at 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
10 my time.
Yeah, so it was 8 my time.
Yeah.
But I was up early trying to figure some of this stuff out. Yeah. So what are you gonna do? I usually get Kathy check my stuff like that. She was still sleeping.
Okay, now the 7 is favored.
The other thing I look at is when they win, or let's see when he runs a good race. So I would say greater than 0. One of the things I like to look at is how the horse wins, right? Or runs a good race. And this is the style he likes, like pressing. You know what I'm saying? He presses and so, like I'm saying, I just, again, to match kind of the way the plot looks, the way the run style is. So this horse is kind of in his groove with this kind of scenario, pressing the 1, right? It just looks like the others are going to be either going to have to run real fast to keep up or going to be way behind. So 7-5, though, I want no part of. But like I said, these odds have went every which way. But I think at the end, the 1 will be the favorite. 7 will be second choice, so they'll be co-favorites, and then the 6 will be the third choice. I mean, that's just the way it's going to probably fall out. Because I mean, these
7-3 is 24. Are these $1 or $2?
Oh, I don't know. I would imagine $2.
Yeah, because 24 to 1 would be crazy. Okay, even 12 is 7-3 is paying $12.
7-3, ice cold. I don't want to take someone else's brand there.
I mean, it doesn't look like the 1 will hold.
I don't know. He's going to be out there. He may hold for third. Either he wins or he holds. Yeah. With the 7, like what I typically do when you get a 7, like you get the best horses in quadrant, like if the 7's going to pressure the 1, or the 1's going to run away from the 7, the other one's usually vulnerable for the place. Don't you see it that way?
Yeah. That's why I'm looking at 7-3, because if I can eliminate the 1, and I can figure the 3 can get the jump on the 6.
I don't. Why not the 4 for a second too?
Because we thought the 4 was over the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the 4 peaked in that last race.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to draw X, X,
Yep. I got you. So I feel like it's hard to bet into some of these smaller pools because you just don't know what you're going to get at the end of the day. all the pools are at the end of the when the race goes off, all that late money comes in. It's hard to assess.
Well, one of the things I bet that I had one of the races pulled up, and it was like at Santa Anita, either like a 5 or 6 horse field at Santa Anita, right? And one of the horses was like a huge circle in quadrant 4, but was like an E type horse, and the horse was like coming off a layoff, and it was like clearly this is like a prep for longer. Like this horse has like absolutely no shot, and the horse was 20-1, which isn't no shot. The horse would be like 200, 2,000 to 1. I mean, it would literally need like all the other horses, something to go back. Just absolutely no shot. So like the big better in the room is literally offering people 250 to 1, like in the room, like on that horse, right? But then we were talking afterwards, and it's like that horse is a takeout reducer for the fact that it's 20-1.
Right.
And it shouldn't be, So if you're looking at like this type of field and you're like, okay, if the 1 is the takeout reducer, because I don't like it.
Right.
And I'm playing like, 7-3 and basically eliminating all these other horses. It looks like a 2 is going to win this at like a massive difference, maybe. Yeah. Then I don't know. You're looking at it from that way, but yeah.
2. Okay. Good luck with that one. Wins by a mile. I knew the 1 was done when he couldn't get the lead there. He hurt him.
Yeah. No, I did not like the 1 in this spot. I mean, that plot cutting back to 1 turn, it was just no.
Yeah, that was just a bad.
The 4 we had a good read on, and I mean, the 2 what happened? It was everybody else was just terrible.
It was terrible.
All right, the 3rd race at Aqueduct. This is the grand finale.
Oh, they're running already, huh? Well, the 3 got the lead like we thought there. 5 is stalking. 3rd. 6 is pressing. See if you can hold off the 6. 3.
3 is taking the lead from the 6. Now it has to hold off the 5.
Five's going to go push past.
Yeah.
Got the right trip.
Mm-hmm.
3's game though. 3's the whole second. So it was 3-5 those ones.
You know, it's a little live right now. It seems is Mr. Pletcher. It's back-to-back winners for Pletcher.
Ooh, good to know. Goes so 5-3. 5's good. I think 5 was the man. We missed that middle leg. We had to pick 3 there. Missed that middle leg. Thought that was the value too. So you take your shot there.
Yeah.
But another 7-5 goes down there. So that's a good exacta. That was a good exacta box there.
Oh yeah, just eliminating the 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oakland Park. I think the 8 should be favored. 1 race for the road.
Okay.
Because we're almost there. It's 5 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, the 5 is currently 4-5, and the 8 is 5-2. 5 is just even money.
Just at the 8, just got another horse with those gate troubles, right?
Yeah.
Log. Trouble to start. Slot.
Yeah. But this should be the right setup for the 8 and getting back to a route.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is the 5, I can't remember if the 5 is a barn change or did Asmussen have this horse last time?
It's a tough race because it's paceless. So sometimes those paceless races, I like a horse that can finish. So, I guess all the 1, 4, 5, and 8 all finishability. I guess well, one's not really. I would say
Oh,
so the 8. Yeah, I'm sorry. So which was number you talking about? 5?
yeah. I mean, you've have like the double layoff lines has been in barns that like this horse should be winning at. Just like isn't a winner. Like doesn't.
Yeah. And then yeah, the double layoff lines you mentioned. It's I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't take 4. Yeah, I think it's a play against.
Yeah. And then everybody else is kind of slow, except for the 8. Nobody else is really running like.
Yeah, the 8's dropping.
Dropping and stretching.
Yeah. Maybe the 4's a little sneaky in here. Gets back to a route. Maybe it could be forward. Like the 4 and the 8. 5 is just too short. Race like this. Javier won the first race too, right? Maybe? I think he did.
Castellano?
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
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 You get more value on him now, that he's like third or fourth best jockey there.
He's so streaky.
Yeah.
There was a time where like he was just everything he touched was gold, and then
when was that?
When was that?
Yeah.
Like 4 years, 4 or 5.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, when he was riding for like Chad Brown, and he had
right.
He
had Ortiz's bounce. That's what he had.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But maybe he's a little more value. Like Johnny B, a little more value these days too, because he's still a good rider, And if he gets the right, to get the right horse, he still can do it. And he's smart. But
it'll be interesting. It's weird with like these jockey changes because New York, you guys are getting Pratt and Rispoli, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and now like the 2 jockeys in California, like Bravo and Velasquez, like that's so.
I know. I know. You when you think of those 2 guys, you think what? East Coast. Not only they rode there whole life.
New York, Jersey.
They're such East Coast kind of guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Oh man. And Bravo won the Wolf Award, which I don't know. I was surprised.
What is that? What does that even mean?
I think it's like I really what does it really mean? I think what it's supposed to be almost like I guess like that Walter Payton Award to some extent.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, the Walter Payton Award, they give it out to like, not only someone who's good at their position or something, but also someone who gives back to the community.
Oh, okay.
I think I don't know. I think that's some of it, or I just think it becomes like who hasn't gotten and who's been a good rider for a lot of years, and they give to them. You know what I mean? But who knows? Who knows? We're close to Kingland race 4 too. Is there anything there?
And we got to draw the line somewhere, but we can, we can take a look. They're in the gate of Oaklawn.
Okay. But and don't forget, race 7 at Aqueduct. We looked at the 4 and race 6 at Kingland are good races. People who come later.
Yeah.
It looked like the 6 race was 2 and 7. Looked kind of interesting. 5. Oh, let me go back to. No, 5's clearly good stalking, clean position for the 8. That way, you had to go pretty quick. 4's down inside. Talking about Oaklawn now.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with the 5 was never going to be, is this horse not going to get the right trip? It's, does this horse just suck?
Yeah.
You know, is this horse just not good?
And I'm going to put some pressure on him. Let's see what happens. See how he handles it.
Yeah.
Here's the moment of truth here. It looks like he's repelled him.
Yeah. I mean, the 5, the jockey just looked back to the inside, but I think it's over. God, the action on that 5 is terrible. Looks windy.
It looks like the 4 is going to run into the try.
Yeah. Yeah, just needed a. Where was that 3? Where was that 3 when we needed him to go out there and duel that? Right?
Yeah, that was that.
Yeah. That's the other part of Oaklawn that like makes it tough. Like something like that, like where you're like, okay, the 5 and the 3 are going to hook up. They're above the par line. The 4 is pressing. 5's, 8's going to track right off that trio, right?
Yeah, didn't get it.
And then the 3 and the 4 are nowhere to be found. And all of a sudden the 8's like, oh, okay, I guess this is me. And then that horse doesn't have any kick. So whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you could see the 5 kind of even getting out still. I mean, I'd be betting against the next day. I would be regressing.
Yeah.
Because this race will come back with a decent number. You want easy. The field was spaced out. It'll be over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So okay,
sure.
cool. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention again was race 7. Look at number 4 at Aqueduct. Race 6 at Kingland. Great race. 2 and 7. Interesting 6 underneath. And I think it's a wrap then. What do you think?
Okay.
But we put a good effort in, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're back. So anyway, our first experiment going live, and I told Emily, I told the folks, I think what we'll do is go live. Now I see it. It's just so.
Frost?
I just saw the spelling. So we'll do this. We'll do the Derby. We'll probably do on video, and then probably the week up to the Derby, maybe we'll do some live stuff.
Okay.
So as things get updated, you can give us some of your assessment of the video works. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks everyone. Thanks Emily for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure, of course.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.